Welcome, everyone. I got green spot here. Welcome to the live stream. Hi, everybody. And welcome to the new green room. We have such a change in the green room. It's the same room, but we got all new cages. We have Apex Reptile cages now, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But let me just say hi to all these. There's a lot of people that were in early waiting for this, chatting. Hi, everybody. There's a number of brand new people that are catching a live stream for the first time, people who've been watching for a while. Here's one. Nemophilist 3. Nemophilist 3. Okay, I'm probably saying it wrong. Been watching for a long time. Oh, no, that wasn't the one that, that says something else. But still, where's the one that was saying that they had been watching for a long time, but this is their first live stream. Anyway, here's one. There's a couple of them. Scar 3D Ghost. Scar 3D Ghost. There it is. Anyway, welcome to everyone. I have Captain Farrell with me. So I had an idea just a couple minutes ago. I walked into the other room where Echo and Stella, my two super dwarfs, have been out and about roaming. They haven't been roaming. They've just been curled up sleeping. And I just walked in there and I noticed that Stella was awake and moving around. And I thought, well, I'll bring Stella out and start with her. And then at the last second, I remembered what a terrible idea that would be, because I would already be losing focus. So I got a snake that is typically not much of a problem at all. Captain Farrell, also a snake that you guys haven't seen for a while. So there we go. We're starting off with Captain Farrell. We're starting off with Green Spot. This is not Scotch. This is my favorite Irish whiskey. And wow, that's a good size pour. It's so good, you guys. Green Spot, highly recommend. Okay. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do is wait for a few more people to get in, and then we're going to talk about these cages. Although next week's video, spoiler, is all about this cage build. It was a huge project. It took 2 weeks. There are two aspects to it. The cage build by our new channel sponsor, Apex Reptile, who starting next week will be announced as the new channel sponsor, but you guys get to hear it first. And then we have another new channel sponsor that I'm announcing the week after that in the next video, and that is Bioactive Supply, which you may be familiar with because they've sponsored a video with me before, and I've mentioned them a number of times on the channel. But Chris at Bioactive Supply came the following week once we had the cages up, and bioactive everything. Bioactived everything. That's a word, right? She bioactived it. So I'll show you some of the cages here in a bit. In fact, look at this. So here, well, all right, we're going to talk about this in a minute. Give me just a second. There's going to be less. I think there's less people probably in this live stream because I just announced it a couple days ago, and it's not our normal day for the live stream. But we already have 120 people in, so maybe it's not going to be less people. Maybe we'll have a good amount. All right, I'm seeing a bunch of people say hello. Okay, I'm just scrolling down. Hi, everybody. There's a lot of people. All right, so I will say this. Starting out, since there's so many new people, I will not be able to keep track of the chat because I got a lot to talk about. Occasionally, I'll see something in the chat that I'll respond to, but typically, if you do a super chat like this, HK Creations, hi Kalanya, jumping in with the first super chat saying you have been bioactived. Yes, I have been bioactived. I had some plants in the other cages, and I had substrate. We kept those, but we had to add to it because all these cages got bigger. We're going to talk about that in a second. And here's another one from Crisis. Good evening, Bob. Have a drink for me. I'm still on duty at work. I will, Crisis, right now have a drink for you. This is for you. I hope you enjoyed it. So if you want me to respond to your question, if you have a question that you want me to answer, you can super chat it and I will see it. I'm going to get to Avery May 4's super chat in just a second. Or if you have a comment that you want me to see right now, you can super chat it. Otherwise, I will see it tomorrow. I just won't be able to respond to it, but I will read the chat and I'll see all the comments tomorrow. So I'm saying that because I don't want you to feel like you have to pay to have me see your comment, because I will see it. And you also don't have to pay to get your question answered. You can ask the question in the chat. There's a lot of experienced people in the chat that will answer your question. But if you want me specifically to answer it, super chat it, and then I'll see it. Okay, so we have a few super chats to get to. Speaking, Avery May 4, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for all the advice with my rescue atlas. I followed it to the letter, and we just had another great handling session. You're the best. Still working on herping in Tennessee. Heather Beavers. Oh, Heather, I'm glad that Atlas is doing well with you. That's fantastic. Glad to hear that. Quartz Adventures, thanks for the super chat. I'm excited to see all the work you've been doing. Man, it's been a lot of work. It's been several weeks worth of work. I was just working on the cages today. I just did some. I put the nameplates up today. You see these nameplates? I got those up finally. Hi, Katie. Good to see you. Saw the sneak peek of your carpet python on MFA's page today. Stunning. Oh, that's cool. I'll have to look. That carpet. I'm gonna have that carpet python in my mitts tomorrow morning. I'm getting a new jungle carpet python. Very excited about it. I'll have to look on their page and see that snake. I'm excited about that. I'll probably do a video about that particular animal. I've been wanting a jungle for a long time, and it just worked out. Back to Chang. Thanks for the super chat. Olive wants you to know she lost her third tooth and has another wiggly one. Oh my gosh, Olive. All your teeth are falling out. That's amazing. It's really fun when you're your age. It's not as fun when you're my age and all your teeth fall out. But that's great for you. Congratulations. Josephine 5 wants to tell you that she thinks she has a wiggly tooth also. Oh my gosh, this is such exciting tooth losing stuff going on at the house there with you two. That's fantastic. Thanks for letting me know. It's good to get the update on the teeth. You guys, I took last week off. You may have noticed, or maybe you didn't notice, that there was not a video last week. I took the week off. I was at Camp Del Corazon. Hang on, somebody's texting me. Let's make sure that it's not some problem with. Okay. So anyway, I volunteered at a summer camp on Catalina Island, and I've been volunteering for this would be 16 years, but I've been on the island. This was my 11th year volunteering on the island, but I had to take the last 5 years off because of my tour schedule. But since I'm not touring anymore, I got to go back, and it was so nice to be back. This is a summer camp for kids with heart disease. They have some sort of heart condition, and they get to come to camp and go rock climbing and snorkeling and I almost said skydiving, not sky. We don't do skydiving. High ropes course and kayaking and stuff like that. All kinds of fun things. I teach them how to play ukulele, stuff like that. And it was such a wonderful time because I really missed it. It is my favorite thing. I feel like I do pretty cool things. Like I try to be someone who does cool things. This is the coolest thing I ever do all year. It beats anything that I do. It's amazing. Here, I'll show you. I can't show you pictures. Like I can't really show you pictures of the kids' faces. So I pulled a couple shots that, first of all, here's a shot that somebody took of those are some beautiful shots. But you know, we're right there on Catalina Island. It's lovely. Here's some seniors jumping off the dock. There's some cabins right on the beach. There's me playing a banjo on the last day while we're waiting for the boat to show up and pick us up, take us home. It was fantastic. I'm back from that. It's people keep going, oh man, you were on Catalina Island. It must have been so relaxing. No, not at all. I'm exhausted and I'm just recovering now from it. So that's what I've been up to. All right, I'm gonna grab a couple of these super chats and we're gonna talk about these cages. We got 167 people in. Hi, you guys. Oh, 169. That's hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I thought we were gonna have a little less people because we're not on our normal day, but it seems like it's a popular event on this Monday. Let's see. Shinobi Raptor, thanks for the super chat. Did I say that right? Shinobi Raptor. I did. I just wanted to let you know that I have a young gopher snake named Mocha. Love your videos. Oh, that's great. I love gopher snakes, man. They're real cool. Nemo Felist. Thanks for the super chat. Oh, this is Pamro. Hi, Pamro. I think I have the brother to your jungle. I got a jungle zebra boy from MFA. I'm the one that sent you the message about it. I'm so excited to see yours. Yeah, it could be because that clutch was a zebra clutch. I wanted a non-zebra. So yeah, could be the brother to that one. That's cool. Yeah, I think I got mine. I first I wanted a female, and then there was only one female non zebra in the clutch, and she just didn't look great to me. Like I want a really good head stamp or something, you know. And so I ended up with a male that has a real cool head stamp. His head stamp looks like a turtle. And I think I might name him Turtle. But we'll see. It takes me a while before I land on a name. But that's the number one candidate right now. Crisis Corpse, thanks for the super chat. House update. Plumbing and electrical are done. Smoke seal was done today. Later this week, they will start duct work. Also replaced my camera finally. That's great. You know, Crisis, you're going to be back in that house soon. That's fantastic. Thanks for the update. Call sign Glitch, thanks for the super chat. Now the black box is closed. What do you recommend? Well, that's a great question. I recommend Apex reptile cages, and we're going to get into those in just a second. By the way, hang on. Apex reptile discount code is GRP, ladies and gentlemen. We're announcing it officially in next week's video, but the discount code works now. So, and we're going to talk about why these are the best cages in the United States that you can get in the US. I don't know other ones around the world, but these are pretty amazing. They're the most innovative cages you can find. I'll tell you why in a moment. You can probably see that these are corner cages. So this right here is one cage. So this down here is a cage, and then another one stacked on it, another one. This is the end of a corner cage. The end pieces have windows. Hang on, let me get to this last super chat. Then I'm going to get up and we'll talk about it. The Frenchiest Fry. I love that one. The Frenchiest Fry. Is this the place that Popeye volunteers at? Yes, it is. And I have a good story about that. Do you know Popeye from the video that he did? Because we did a video with Popeye a few years ago of introducing people to snakes who are afraid of snakes. Popeye is that's his camp name. We all just go by our camp names, and we know each other by our camp. I know his real name, but I'm never going to call him by his real name. My camp name is Rockstar, so there's like 100 counselors, nurses, and doctors that only know me by the name Rockstar. They might not even know my real name. Anyway, Popeye, hang on. Okay. Popeye is a good friend of mine that I know from camp. I've known him for many, many years. And we have never been on the island together. We do 3 sessions of camp each year, and most counselors do 1 session and then they go home. I always do 2 sessions, except this year I did 1. I always do session 2 and session 3. Popeye always does session 1. So we've never actually been on the island together. And this year, we both did session 2, and they put us in the same cabin. So we were co-counselors with the same group of boys this year. We had 11 and 12-year-old boys, and it was so fun not only to be on the island with Popeye, but to be co-counselor with him. We had a lot of fun. It was a good time. A lot of laughs. That guy's super funny. TT Tiff, thanks for the super chat. New setup is fire. How are Tiger Lily's babies? Tiger Lily's babies aren't hatched yet. She's still on the eggs. In fact, maybe I can show you her on the eggs later. Somebody remind me. Don't let me forget. Looks like we're losing the captain. I'm going to have to grab him. One of the eggs went bad. I noticed the other day, I lifted her up, and there's one egg that's green under there. I pulled her off the eggs, which you can't do that with most snakes, but Tiger Lily's very trusting. And I tried to separate it, and I couldn't. I didn't want to mess with it, so it's just going to sit there. As far as I can tell, it's not corrupting the other eggs, so I think we're going to be fine. And they're going to hatch in a couple weeks, I think. We're a couple weeks away from hatching. So that would be 5 good eggs in the clutch. Christine Blue, thanks for the super chat. Let's see. There we go. Here's this guy. What small to medium-sized snake other than ball python can you socialize and will hang out with you? A boa, a BI, especially like if you want it on the smaller side, you could get one of the smaller localities like a Hog Island, something like that. That's a good slow snake. You know, if you get into like, there's some other really cool snakes like pine snakes and stuff like that, but they're not going to hang out with you. But a boa would. And really, you can socialize just about any snake. I wouldn't try it with a black mamba, but, you know. Amy Olson, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Bob, I've got a 1-year-old nephew who might come to visit me and my ball pythons. And while I'm not worried about him breaking into cages, any advice about when to introduce a supervised snake and child handling session? Yeah, I mean, I usually, it always depends on the kid, right? The temperament of the child. A 1-year-old probably isn't going to do much damage to a snake, but they're also not going to remember it really. So I would say 3 or 4 if the child, if you trust the kid to listen to your instructions and to be calm. A lot of times the biggest problem with toddlers is that they can't be calm. They're so excited to touch a snake that they're just like, ah, and they have this crazy energy. And that is not good energy for snakes to remain calm, you know? All right. I'm gonna get these last couple super chats. Then I'm gonna get up. We're gonna talk about these cages, and then I'll get back to whatever super chats are left. Nemophilist, am I saying your name right? My jungle has a robot stamp on his head, and I named him Wally after the robot Wall-E. I actually had picked the name before I saw him, so it was meant to be. Oh, that's great. That's cool. You'll have to send a photo of Wally. That's very fun. The Frenchiest Fry, thanks for the super chat. Yeah, I know him from the video. I love that series. Oh, cool. That's great. That's great. Yeah, his video is really fun. He's very funny. He's actually coming over in a few days to he came over. No, it's someone else that's coming over. He came over the week before we went to camp. He was over here and kind of had a bit of the same reaction, but he was less scared. There was less giggling like a schoolgirl, because that's his reaction when he gets nervous about things, which is so funny. There's a little bit less of that, and he handled some snakes. He did really well. So, okay, I'm taking the ears out. You guys let me know if there's a sound problem, but I think we're okay. And I'm going to respond to this last super chat. Brown Room Boas, thanks for the super chat. Hi, I got a Colombian BCI boa 2 months ago. She's 6 months old. Now her name is Orakai. Orakai. I think I said that right. 115 grams. Do you have any tips? Also, she's my PYP. I don't know what that is. Please get out Dan. I could get out Handsome Dan. He's pretty easy to grab. Okay, so we'll put Handsome Dan on the list. Congrats on your boa. Do I have any tips? Yeah, I mean, lots of tips. They're pretty much like a ball python. They're very close to a ball python. I've got a care guide. You probably know that already. 115 grams. You've had the snake for 2 months and it's 6 months old. 115 grams. Seems small. My advice is to slowly get food into that animal. So you don't ever want to overfeed a boa, but 115 grams at 6 months seems a little small. So just make sure that you're offering appropriately sized prey items once a week for now, and then you'll space it out, you know. That's my advice. Okay. Let me get up and show you these. I'm just going to tell you a couple things about these cages. You know, like I said, next week, is this camera better? Maybe. So next week, there will be a video on the cages, and a lot of this stuff you're going to hear in the video. But I want to show you. Yeah, that's good enough. So we got 6 foot corner cages right here, and they're not PVC. They're HDPE. Am I right about that? Is Trenton in? Do we have Bioactive Supply is in? Hi, Chris. You guys, if you have any questions about Bioactive, Chris basically designed all the Bioactive in all these cages. And I'm not sure. I think Trenton with Apex Reptile was going to be in to answer cage questions. So Chris at Bioactive Supply can answer your Bioactive questions. Trenton, if he's in. Oh, yeah. Trenton's in. Look at that. Apex Cages is here to answer your cage questions. And Chris is in from Bioactive Supply to answer your... Oh, HDPE is correct. Nice. So you guys, so it's not PVC, it's HDPE, which is way stronger. I can have heavy substrate in here and there's no bowing. It's less scratch. It's more scratch resistant and dirt resistant. You can just wipe it down and all the dirt just falls off. They're really great. But so these are corner cages. So this is one cage right here, and it looks small, but it's a 6 foot cage right there. And then I have these latches are so cool. And then I have these are 4 foot cages. And then I have another stack of 6 foot cages. I love this. Look at this. Here's Douglas. He's about to shed, so I'm not going to pick him up. But I can just swing out Douglas, and now he's sitting out in the room. It's pretty cool. I've got a combination of swing out and drop down doors just because I wanted to sort of try them both. And then I have another stack of 4 foot cages over on the other. So I've got another camera that I can move, but I have it set up right now to show you something. So this is the end of, like, right here is Banjo's cage. This is the end of his cage. I've got windows on the ends, and then his cage comes all the way around here. And then on the back side of this, I have another set of 4 foot cages. And just to show you the coolest Bioactive, this is Bonte's cage right here. Bonte, you can barely see him. He's all the way on the right-hand side behind that plant that's all the way to the right. You can barely see him sitting there. But we're using that. The reason that one's so dense is that we're using it. I mean, first of all, it's the only truly tropical cage that I have. And we're also using it as kind of a nursery to plant some plants to get them to root. And then I'll pull those out and plant them in other cages. But that, hang on a second. Let me put this guy back real fast. And then what I'll do is move that camera so you can see a little better. Hang on. Let's go here. See if I can give you a good view of things. So there's Bonte's cage. Here's Ozzy, the rough scale python. And then now remember, these are 4-foot cages, but this one is split. This is Pip and Squeak side by side. So Pip is in this one, and then Squeak is over here in this one. You can't see any of these snakes yet. And then all the way at the bottom here, we have Handsome Dan. He's over there in the corner. Someone requested him, so we'll pull him out. Can you guys hear me? I assume you could hear me. Let me, so you guys are going to find out in the video, but next week's video is us bringing, taking out all the black box cages that we had and bringing in the Apex cages. And then the week after that, Chris showed up with a truckload of stuff from Bioactive Supply. More substrate, more plants, rocks, enrichment items, pieces of wood, seed pods, all that kind of stuff. And I had some helpers over here. We had a crew both weekends, but basically what ended up happening is Chris did all the work and we just helped her because she knew what she was doing. And in that video, that's a really helpful video for people that are doing bioactive, because I ask her what she's doing and she kind of explains what she's doing and why. I think it's going to be a good video for folks who want bioactive or want to go to bioactive. Okay, let me grab a couple super chats here. Steven at Let's Talk Herps, shout out to Camp Del Corazon. Much better for everyone than a weekly video, but we missed you all the same. Thanks, Steven. I appreciate that. Yeah, camp is definitely worth it. I wish I could have done 2 sessions, but it's pretty tough when you've got a schedule. Avery May, thanks for the super chat. Those cages are so low profile and sleek. They look fantastic. Thanks. Yeah. Here's the other thing about them. You'll notice they're all green on the front. Those are removable fronts. So they're actually full black cages, but the snap-on fronts you can get in several different colors. There's like that's kind of a light green color. There's a pink that's not too hot pink that is actually looks nice. There's a lavender. What else, Trenton? That might be it. That might be the 3 colors right now. But the cool thing is that I can change the look of the room just based on snapping on new fronts on cages. I can have different colors if I want sometime, but I wanted to start off with all green to begin with. I like it a lot. They look good just black without the fronts too, but the snap-on fronts are cool. Here's the other thing. We're talking about why Apex is the most innovative cage company in America. All these cages are designed so that you can add on to them. So if your snake outgrows their cage, you don't buy a whole new cage. You just get another section and add on to it. And you can add on to the end. So basically, if I wanted to add on to the end of this, I would just take this side off and pop another 2-foot block on, or a 4-foot block, or whatever I wanted to do. But you can also add on to the top. So you can pop the top off and add another cage here and make it taller, or you can add on to the back of it. So sides, back, and top, you can continually expand, which is really cool to not have to collect cages. You know, you just add a new section. It's great. Yeah, lavender grayish. When I say lavender, it really is. It's a very classy. Both that and the one that's pink is. They're subtle. They're cool. So anyway, Trenton and I have been friends for a number of years, and every time I see him at the Pomona Reptile Show, we talk about the new stuff that he's working on with his cages and things like that. And it just worked out that when Black Box decided to close their doors, I knew that Trenton was interested in a partnership. So we chatted, and he got to building cages, and I'm so excited about it. It's really cool. I'm excited about the partnership with Apex because I know them well, and I really believe in the product. But I'm also excited about the new green room. You know, the new room. All the snakes got bigger cages, yeah, it's cool. So I was going to say something else and I forgot. Let's get Handsome Dan, since I said I would, and he's just right here. He hasn't really been out of his cage much since I got him in the new one, and he seems to be doing well. Hey, bud, you're okay. You got me there. He got a little nervous when I opened the door. See how he does. Oh, champ. Okay. Handsome Dan, everybody. So I said everybody got an upgrade. Actually, this is the exception. Handsome Dan got a downgrade. He was in a 5-foot cage, and I moved him to a 4-foot cage. And the reason is that he didn't use the 5 feet of his cage. He sat in one spot all the time, and he always came out almost every day. He comes out and finds a spot to sit. But when he's in his cage, he doesn't use it much. And I do have 2 6-foot cages. You see that dark one at the bottom, and then I have one on the other end that are available. And I thought, okay, if it seems like he's not doing well in a 4-foot and he's starting to roam around in his cage, I can move him to a 6. But I think he's a good candidate for a 4-foot cage. We're going to talk about cage sizes. We have a Patreon Q&A, and one of the questions is about cage sizes. So we're going to talk about that, and how a lot of times the personality of the snake determines what size cage they need. You know, we always talk about this species needs this size and this species needs this size. And that's a good way to sort of be thinking about caging. But then you can also look at the personality of your snake and determine. And usually what you would determine is they need a bigger cage, you know, but Handsome Dan does not really need a 5-foot cage at this point. Avery May, yes, the ventilation is in the back. There are ventilation slots in the back of the cages. And you can, they come with plenty. And I'm probably going to end up covering a few of them on certain cages, you know, to just add more humidity. You can mess with the humidity. There are Trenton can print, I think it's 3D printed inserts that just snap into the back of the cage that covers those vents and shuts them. Crisis, thanks for the super chat. It's Handsome Dan's fault I have boas now, BCI and a BCC. You know what? I hear that from a lot of people. Apparently, it's Handsome Dan's fault that a lot of people have boas. which makes me happy. Boas are great. You know, this is green room pythons, but never shade to boas. I love boas. I mean, I love finding them in the wild. Love having one. They're a fantastic snake. Oh, I see Trenton answering a question here. It's a good point to make. Most of their cages, they're basically moving to HDPE. Yeah, HDPE. But they still are making PVC cages in 4x2x2 and 4x2x18 high, which are two very popular ones. So the PVC cages, I believe, are a little bit less expensive and a little bit lighter to carry, but they're also not as strong. But the cool thing is you can, like, if you have a PVC cage from Apex, you can buy a HDPE addition to it and snap on, or vice versa. They snap together. They're all the same size and everything. 3 Void, thanks for the super chat. How do you recommend lighting a 4x2x2? I have a 24-inch cave dweller UV and a heat panel. Feels very dark. Trying to lighten it up. Yeah, just get a go to like what's the website that I'm blanking on right now? Reptile Basics. Just go to Reptile Basics. They have long LED lights, and what you want to do is install that LED light at the front of the cage, shining back to the back, and that will lighten everything up for you. That's what all these cages have LED lights in them, and for the most part they're on one side of these corner cages. The corner end right here isn't lighted. The other side is lighted. You can tell that it's darker here. But when the lights are on in the room, light shines in through the end, so it's okay. And I think it's okay also to give them a lighter end and a darker end. Also, the other cool thing about these corner cages is you have a real heat gradient. You know, your hot side, their hot end is over there. Their heater, their heat elements are over here, and then around the corner is much cooler. So it gives them a much bigger heat gradient to have those corner cages. I like that a lot. And so with the bioactive stuff, you can plant a whole bunch of stuff on the corner side that's not well, actually what we ended up doing is planting a lot of stuff in the back corner. So we stayed away from the heat elements, and then it's a little bit dark on this end for some plants. So we did heavy planting in the back corners, basically. And if I had LEDs on this side, we'd probably plant them heavier on that side. Crisis still loves her blood pythons. I know you do. They're cool. What's not to love in a blood python? They're pretty great. Heather Beaver's here. Hi, Heather. I love the customization of these. Hopefully I can get a snake from you next year with one of these for them to come home to. Yeah. They're pretty great. So right now, just so you guys know, some of you keep track of who's in what cages. Some of them are similarly stacked. Like this stack here is the same. I have Stella up there. I've got Douglas here in the middle, and I've got Echo down there. These cages are Maya and Banjo, my 2 black-headed pythons. And by the way, so I realize people don't know who these snakes are sometimes. Stella and Echo are super dwarf retics. Douglas is a scrub python. So that's what I have on that side. I've got my 2 black-headed pythons here, and I have Dave, my super dwarf retic. Well, Garrett's super dwarf retic down here. He'll be with me for however long it takes Echo to have babies. And then behind me, we've got Koa, my Brettles python, Bella, my coastal carpet python, and the Inspector, my ball python down there. That's yeah, I'm trying to move with this snake on my hat. So that's the lineup. as it sits right now. TT Tiff, thanks for the super chat. Any chance APEC will fit smoothly on top of a very recently purchased black box enclosure for my inevitable future snake baby? Yes, absolutely. If you have a 4x2x2 with black box, you can definitely fit an apex on top of it. However, my suggestion would be, depending on how heavy, you know, like if it's live planted, if it's bioactive, my suggestion would be to have the HDPE apex cage on the bottom and your black box cage on top, because black box is PVC and not quite as strong. But if it's not live planted, like even if it's not bioactive with thick substrate, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I had bioactive black box stacked up. I just kept my substrate thin so it didn't get too heavy. So it's probably not that big of a deal. Okay. So let's do this real quick. We got handsome Dan on the chair. Let me give you some close-ups of these cages. So here's Maya. I'm digging around. Man, she's done so well with this cage. So a lot of you know that Maya wrecks her plants always because she's always digging, and she's actually digging right now. Hang on, I'm trying to give you a shot of it. Oh, that's her face. Hi, Maya. Look at that. Look at how dirty her face is because she just came out of the dirt. Anyway, these plants, that one I just gave more water to because it's not getting enough water, but that's my fault. It's not Maya's. She has not killed her plants yet because Chris did some tricky planting, which you'll see in the video in a couple weeks. So there's Maya. See how she put the rocks? She put the rocks around these. That's Banjo's cage. Same problem there. He digs a lot, but these plants have so far survived nicely. There's Dave's cage. We got Bella here. Handsome Dan down here. So nothing super fancy, although Koa's cage looks pretty fancy. We didn't do any crazy backgrounds or anything like that. We just did sort of simple bioactive, which still looks really cool. Hang on. I'm trying to get my cord. There's the super door. The retics are not in their cages right now. There's Douglas over here. He's getting ready to shed. He might shed while we're on the live stream. He is ready to do it. And then Echo's cage down here. So we're just starting with a few plants for the retics. We'll see how they do with them. Hey, Mama, will you go back in there? Thank you. Let's get this closed. Excuse me. Hi. Hi, excuse me. There we go. Okay. There we are. And quick view of handsome Dan. He likes to sit there. He likes the back of that chair. You know, Chris, it's funny. You have such an affinity for Maya, and I love that. And I think it's because she always kills your plants. I think there's something. You send me plants, and she kills them, and you're like, that silly snake. But I think a lot of people have a thing for Maya. A lot of people that are, especially people that are afraid of snakes, are very afraid of Maya because she looks intimidating with that black head, and you know, Banjo as well. Christine Blue, great question. Thanks for the super chat. How do people buy snakes from you, and when? When is whenever I have a clutch available, and it's through Patreon. So my snakes only go to Patreon members at any level. So you could be at the $5 a month level, and you can buy a snake from me. I announce on Patreon whenever a clutch is available. And I try to give a heads up. So what I'll do is I'll say, you know, people on Patreon already know when a clutch is hatching, because I always make a video and let them know that. And then when they're going to be available, I tell people usually the day before that at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to make this clutch available. I'm going to put the prices and what everything is as far as genetics and such. So if you're looking for a snake for this clutch, be looking at Patreon at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I make them available. And sometimes the clutches go right away. Like all the snakes go within half an hour, but a lot of times it'll be days. It's not like a mad rush to get snakes always. There have been a couple clutches that are like that, but there's also been a couple clutches that it takes a month or so before they're all spoken for. So, there will be house snakes and ball pythons available in the coming couple months because we have eggs right now. And there was a question on Patreon about that. We're going to get to these Patreon questions soon. I told somebody today that this probably wouldn't be a long live stream, but I think it might be because I have not even started a Patreon question. And we are 46 minutes and 55 seconds into this episode right now. And now we're 47 minutes. Just in me saying how many minutes we are, we rolled another minute. Nemophilist, thanks for that reminder. Hit the like button, y'all. It's helpful because it tells YouTube that people are enjoying this, and so they just push it out to more people. They show it to more people if you hit the like button. It just helps the channel. Thanks for that reminder. Okay. So we've seen the cages. Let's get to some Patreon questions. Oh, you guys, did I show you that? Hold on. So we talked about this. The Apex Reptile discount code is going to be GRP. It's already up. It already works. So that's GRP. Bioactive Supply discount code is GreenRoom20. GreenRoom20, all one word, for Bioactive Supply. Both of those discount codes are in effect right now. Okay. What else do I want to say about this? I just want to say, in case, if you are in the Horde of Keepers, if you're on Patreon and have not seen my last couple messages about the Arizona herping trip, if you plan on going herping with me on the Arizona herping trip and you want to stay in the Airbnb with us, look at those videos. I need the deposit from you for the Airbnb. It's really the only cost. And your food, it's the hard costs of what it costs to stay in the Airbnb and food and such like that. But I don't charge anything. It's just what it costs. But I am reserving the Airbnb this week. So I just need to know how many people plan on staying. So far, it's like 12 or 13 of us. So it's going to be a big Airbnb. And it'll be fun. It's going to be a good time. All right. So hang on. Okay, let me get to these. Jim Farr, are you famous if I say your name? You guys, let it be known that Jim Farr of Farr Racing is famous. Not because of me. He's won some race car races. He's a famous race car guy. Jim's going to be in Arizona with us. So if that sways your decision either way, whether you want to come, just so you know, Jim will be there. So Keep that in mind when you're making your decision. Avery May. Oh, Heather. Right. Heather. Heather here. Sorry. I'm going to say Avery May every time, but it's Heather. I know that it's Heather, even though I will read the name because it's just an automatic thing that I do. What do you use to clean plants with before you put them in an enclosure that is not bioactive? You're asking how do I clean the plants off before I put them in a bioactive enclosure? What I do is I used to do bleach, but Emily at Bioactive Supply is Chris and Emily gave me the tip, and I like this better than bleach. 1 capful of hydrogen peroxide per gallon of water. I have a 5-gallon bucket. I fill it with 4 gallons. I put 4 capfuls of hydrogen peroxide in there, and you knock all the dirt off. So you take your plant. Let's say you got it from Home Depot, right? You take your plant, you knock all the dirt off, as much dirt as you can from the roots and everything. You just have this bare plant, as much as you can. Some plants are tough. Some plants are still going to have dirt, whatever. But do the best you can. Submerge it in that hydrogen peroxide water solution for 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes, an hour isn't bad. Like you're not going to kill it. It's going to be fine. But about 20 minutes is what you want. And then rinse it off. And that's it. Plant it. It's pretty easy. Okay. We are 51 minutes in and just starting the Patreon questions. Here we go. Michael says, I've noticed that my ball python tends to do his business in about the same spot in his enclosure each time. Is this typical, or is he just being polite? Well, he's a businessman and he's going to the office, doing his business. Yeah, it depends on the snake. You know, a lot of times they're just in their hide all the time and they decide to poop in their hide all the time. I have house snakes that choose to go, that live in one hide, but choose to go poop in their other hide. And that other hide is their bathroom. So it just depends on the snake. And then other snakes just go wherever they happen to be. So, you know, I think they're all different. Anthony says, I'm an over-the-road truck driver, and I've seen several truck drivers that take snakes on the road with them. I have a freezer in my truck capable of storing food and a 3,500 watt inverter capable of running everything I need, including a heat source. But I want to make sure that I do everything right. I usually only stay in the Midwest and South and East Coast, but I wanted somebody professional to ask. So, Anthony, you're not going to like my answer because I've been asked this a number of times by truck drivers who would love to have a snake. I always caution against doing that because the snake, you know, the road, you know, your snake is in their home in a little cage, a tank or whatever. And you've got that constant rumbling of the road all the time. There's even, we say not to put speakers right by where your cage is because the speakers, that constant vibration of the TV or music or whatever speakers bothers the snake. It's the same with being on the road. And I know people do it. And my guess is that there are snakes that get used to it and they do just fine. It's possible. But, so I'll say this, you're not going to kill your snake with stress, probably if you do it, but it's not going to be the most comfortable life for them to be driving around all the time. And, my guess is that your truck is probably very well temperature controlled and it's not going to be massive heat and cold swings, but just driving around all the time and having that road rumble. I personally wouldn't do it. I think it would cause a level of stress to the animal sort of constantly. What I recommend for truck drivers, depending on how much you're on the road, is, a lot of times, depending on what your situation is, you might be home once a week. And if that's the case, you can have a snake, you just feed them and make sure they have water and such like that, especially if you have someone watching them You know, if you occasionally are gone more than a week, you can have somebody come in and handle that. So the reason that I have snakes is that I travel so much. I love lizards too. I'd love to have a bunch of lizards, but I travel so much that it only makes sense for me to have snakes because I can be gone for a week and they're totally fine, you know? So that's what I would say. Hang on, let me catch up on super chats and then we'll get back to those. That's a good question though. I'm glad that I've been asked that question a number of times by truck drivers and I'm glad that they take the time to ask. Heather, look at that. I got it. Loving the new podcast makes me laugh and makes me go, huh, that, you know what? That's what the podcast is all about, Heather. That's the whole point of the podcast. And for those who don't know, we're talking about a podcast called Aliens Are Behind Everything and Other Probably True Nonsense. I'm your host. It has nothing to do with snakes. It's a podcast where I tell stories about alien abductions and cryptids and poltergeist stories and things like that. And we make it funny and we tell these stories that maybe they happened because people claim that they happened. You know, it's pretty fun. We're on a break right now for a few weeks. I will be recording an episode in the next couple days, and I think we will get back into season 3. We're on season 3 already. So there's 2 seasons for you to binge. If you haven't watched it, Aliens Are Behind. It's on YouTube. It's Aliens Are Behind Everything with Bob Bledsoe, but it's also available on all podcast platforms, just the audio version, but there is a video version on YouTube as well. So anyway, Heather, thanks for saying that. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And it gave me an opportunity to plug the podcast because still nobody knows about it yet. And it's good to plug it when I can. Thanks for giving me that organic opportunity to do so. Where am I at here with these? Okay. Candy's Critters, please bring out Pip and Squeak next if you can. I'm not able to stay till close tonight. Love the new cages. Thanks, Candy's Critters. I cannot bring out Squeak because he is a zombie at the moment. And Pip, though, might be okay to bring out. She didn't have a huge meal. Squeak got his first hopper mouse, a small hopper mouse, but a hopper mouse nonetheless. It was a big meal for him the other day. Put him right into shed. I knew it would. Crisis, you're right. Dan does look ready to crawl off my chair. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Look at this. He's right there. He's pretty comfortable. He's usually a pretty comfortable guy. You're right, though. He could decide to make a move. Christine Blue, I love your podcast, too. I binged it on Amazon Music. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're listening to it on a podcast platform. And I am also glad that you enjoy it. You know, my guess is when I started it, my guess was that most people were going to watch it on YouTube because people are used to watching me on YouTube. And that is the case. Probably more than 75% watch on YouTube. And then there's a percentage that listen on the other podcast platforms. Hopefully that'll even out a little more and there'll be more listeners on the podcast platforms. But for people who do watch on YouTube, I do put some visuals in there. There are some inside jokes that you'll only get if you're watching the podcast and on you know, the video version. And especially in the final episode of season 2, there was some stuff that happened that you'll only get it if you're watching, you know. And if you're listening to it, it's not that you don't understand what's going on. You just don't really know what's going on because you don't see. Anyway, my point is, I'm glad that a lot of people watch it, and I'm glad that some people listen to it because we want to get those. We want to get listeners because it's, you know, it's a true audio podcast as well as a YouTube film thing. Okay. Back to the Patreon questions. Christine says, can you suggest ways or methods of socializing a defensive snake? Every time I take out my 9-month-old ball python, he strikes. Yeah, so my biggest suggestion, Christine, is I have a bunch of videos on the YouTube channel that talk about this, ways to socialize. It's a much bigger subject than I can cover just in live stream response. But for one thing, I would say go in with a hook. If you're taking the snake out, go in with a hook. That'll help because it's less threatening to the snake and less chance that he'll bite you. So that's a good one. And then there are techniques that you can do where you can socialize the snake in that you're getting them used to your presence, your non-threatening presence, without touching them. Just hanging out by the cage, just having them see you moving things around. If they're striking every time you go in there, like defensively striking every time you go in there, that means that they're scared of your hands. So you need to spend some time having them see your hands doing things in the cage and then not touching them at all. Like you don't even go for them, because if every time they see your hands, you're going for them, you're doing this in their face, it's pretty scary. So anyway, I go into more depth on that kind of stuff in the socialization videos on the channel. Crisis, this is a great point that you're making. It's not a cult, you guys. The podcast is not a cult. And even though we want everyone to have robes, okay, they're not all the same robe. We just want you to have bathrobes when we meet. It's not a cult. Thank you, Crisis, for that. And look, I'm not asking for your life savings, which is a big cult thing. And I want most of your life savings. I'd like you to send that to me, but not all of it. So that's more proof that it's not a cult. Teresa Woods, thanks for the super chat. For example, your best boy Cryptid being a good boy and not barking during the podcast. My dog Cryptid came in. You're right, Teresa. That's a great example. My dog Cryptid wandered into the green room. I mean, not into the green room, wandered into the podcast studio during the final episode of last season. And I said, as long as he doesn't bark or whine, he can stay. And he didn't. I was surprised. There was no barking, no whining. He did great. So, he's a good dog. All right. Where are we? H&K Creations, that's Kalanya. Thanks for this question. It's not a super chat. We're not on super chats right now. We're on questions from Patreon. How do we know when it's time to get a bigger enclosure? She's in an 18 by 36. She's roughly 43 inches long. It depends on the snake. If the snake at 43 inches long, if the snake is moving around the cage a lot and using all that space, give them an upgrade. That's the thing. I mean, we have rules. Some people say if the snake is longer than the cage is long, you should upgrade. Some people say if the snake is longer than the cage is long plus wide, you should upgrade. So that's where you're at. The snake is not quite as long and wide as the cage is, but it depends on the snake. So, if a snake is getting as long as the cage and it's also super active and always in its cage and super active, I would upgrade. If it's a snake like Handsome Dan that doesn't move at all, they probably wouldn't need an upgrade at that point, So it depends on the snake. It's tough because, we say these rules, but most of the rules are not hard and fast, and most of the concepts are not even hard and fast. We're going to talk about a concept that's, Handsome Dan did leave. Let's see. How am I going to get him out of here? Not what I expected from this guy. Hey, bud. Okay. I'm just going to have to let him do what he wants to do, and I'll get him later. You guys, don't let me forget that Handsome Dan is out. Not something I'll remember. He's never out. He's almost never on the floor. It's not going to matter. If I forgot, I'll look for him for 3 minutes and I'll find him curled up. He's just going to find a spot and curl up. But still, I don't want to forget. Crisis, thanks for the super chat. Also, Carol is doing a fantastic job. She deserves a raise. Crisis, I disagree with you. We're back talking about the podcast again. Carol is in charge of technology. She's in the booth running technology. She knows nothing about technology. I should not have hired her. She does a terrible job with her timing on things. It's really bad. And everybody says she deserves a raise. It's pretty tough. Having Carol in the booth is not the easiest thing. Okay. So did I answer that last question? Oh, wait. Okay. So that was part of it. And then Kalanya had another question. Also, we got new substrate online and it turned out to be very processed cocoa husk to the point of looking like dirt. Okay. That's cocoa core. So what you probably ordered accidentally was cocoa core instead of cocoa husk. That is the dirt stuff. We just started feeding her in her cage and the rat gets dirty. Is that okay? Or do we need to forfeit the cocoa dirt? It's fine. Like, it doesn't matter if she ingests a little. We do add moss to it, about a 1-to-3 ratio of moss and cocoa dirt. Yeah, you can, a lot of people use that cocoa core and they mix it with other things, like the jungle mix or whatever. I use cocoa husk in my non-bioactive cages, and I use bioactive substrate in bioactive cages, so I don't do this. But a lot of people mix that cocoa core with other things, and that's fine. Or you can just have it in there mixed with. You can have it in there like it is. It's okay if the rat gets a little bit on it, and they ingest a little bit. Not a big deal. But probably not ideal. For substrate. Just make sure that when you get it next time, that it says cocoa husk on it rather than core. Erica says, when will you have babies available? Okay, so this is what we were talking about. So house snake babies will be hatching next week. We should have house snake babies pipping out of their eggs, poking out. The week after that, we should have ball python babies from tiger lily poking out. That doesn't mean they'll be available, but figure 30 days-ish from the time they pip, they should be available. Depends on how they do, but if they all do fine and they eat and whatever, 30 to 45 days, let's say, after that. But Patreon will definitely be getting videos of new snake babies in the next week and 2 weeks. We're going to have all the babies. Erica also says, will you be coming to the Sacramento Reptile Show in September? Yeah, I want to. I believe I will. But sometimes things come up. So it's on my calendar, though. It's on my calendar. And if I do that, we will do a meetup with the Horde of Keepers. So anyone that's in the Horde, which means any of the paid tiers on Patreon, we'll do a little meetup at a restaurant, something like that. Last year, or was it last year, or was it 2 years ago that we did that in Sacramento? And the restaurant that I chose to meet up at, well, I called them ahead of time and they were like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Table for whatever it was, let's say 10 of us or whatever. Yeah, no problem. Well, it was a problem because what they didn't realize is that day they were having the heavy metal station doing a remote. Like the heavy metal radio station was doing a remote from there. The place was absolutely packed. They didn't have any tables open, and they're just blaring heavy metal music, which I'm okay with, heavy metal music, but not when I'm trying to chat with people at a table. So we went down the street to Cheesecake Factory, and we did it there. And Cheesecake Factory was delightful. It was fine. Worked out well. Last minute audible for our Patreon meetup. Katie Clark, thanks for the super chat. My hubby not into reptiles, so he never watches this channel, but he became an avid Bob fan as well through the new podcast, right up his alley. That's great. That I love hearing that someone who's not a fan of the channel, the reptile channel, is enjoying the podcast. That's what I want to hear, because I know that there's a lot of people who already know me and they kind of know my style of how I talk and whatever. So they'll enjoy the podcast. I want to hear from the people who don't know me at all, stumble upon the podcast and are enjoying it. So that's a good, thanks for that, Katie. That's nice to hear. I'm glad he's enjoying it. I feel like the podcast has more comedy in it than the YouTube channel. And that was the purpose of doing that podcast. I wanted to have something that was just more of an outlet for comedy. You know, I'm pretty passionate about caring for snakes properly and behavior and conservation of snakes in the wild, stuff like that. So my videos for the most part on this channel are fairly serious, even though I add some comedy into it. The other thing, I try to tell these stories the way they are, you know, the way they came out, whether it's, you know, alien or cryptid, you know, poltergeist stories, whatever that I find. I try to tell them properly, but I mix in humor whenever it comes up. And I think there's more comedy in the podcast than there is in green room pythons. Dogs, fish, reptiles, Lego. You in your name, you've told us everything you're into. I love it. Thanks for the super chat. I'm happy to pay Carol's wages with baby dubious. Wanted to send a first super chat and didn't know what to say. No, that's great. I love that. I've never fed Carol baby dubious before, but I'm sure she would love them. She's looking for food right now. I need to find her a cricket. I appreciate that. I mean, I think she'd be happy to take baby dubious and pay. Crisis, thanks for the super chat. If I go to Sacramento in 2027, you will have to help me find an Angolan python. Crisis, you're going to have a better chance of finding an Angolan python on Morph Market, I think. I rarely see Angolans. I mean, that's not true. Maybe I feel like I saw a couple last year at some shows, but I don't remember which ones. So, you know, occasionally they're at shows. They're easier to find than a pygmy python, that's for sure. Okay, let's see. Speaking of shows, April says, my first time vending will be coming up soon. It's exciting and scary. Any advice? I've been to many shows, so I think I have a good booth. I'm more worried about things new vendors don't think of. You know, April, I've never vended a show before, and probably never will. It's not something I'm interested in doing, but I've been to a lot of shows, as have you. So you probably have the same type of experience that I have. Like, you know, in talking to vendors, what's good and what's not so good in interacting with people. And vending, it's tough because, you know, I get into conversations with people about this a lot at shows when we talk about people. You know, there will be one booth, let's say it's just between ball python vendors, right? We'll have one booth that's selling ball pythons really well, and then another booth that hasn't sold one, and they're complaining about how terrible the show is. But really it has to do with the fact that, you know, people that are into reptiles are into reptiles, and they're from all different walks of life. And some are good at talking to people, and some are not so much and don't really want to talk to people. And there are, you know, you run into these vendors who you can tell the person is really into reptiles, but they don't like talking to people. And it's going to be very difficult for them to sell a snake. You know, you don't have to be a great salesman. You don't have to be a great snake salesman. You just have to be interested in talking to people, you know. And that's the difference between the vendors who sell really well and those who don't. You know, you've got the ones that are sitting in their chair, arms crossed, looking at their phone. They only look up at the person if the person asks them a question. That's not cool. And then, but on the other hand, you've got the polar opposite where you walk up and as soon as you step up, they go, hey, let me know if you have any questions. What are you looking for? What can I do for? And they ambush the person with this crazy energy. You need to be somewhere in the middle. You need to be like friendly and, compliment them on their shirt or their hat or whatever. And they will let you know if they have any questions. They absolutely will. You don't have to say, I'm saying this to every vendor now, not just you, April. I think you're going to do fine, April. But I definitely have pet peeves when it comes to working with. There's a lot of vendors that have never seen my channel before. There's a lot of reptile breeders that don't watch YouTube channels, so they don't know who I am. So I walk up and they just think I'm another customer. And I'm not, because I'm not going to buy a snake at that show. But it's interesting to see the different sales techniques or non-sales techniques that people have when they vend. I would say a perfect level of sales / non-sales is Spencer from the Royals Project. They're a sponsor of my channel. They're also a good friend of mine. But when Spencer is at a show, he's very good with people, but he's not trying to sell you a snake. But he also is going to talk to you and keep you interested, and not necessarily even talk to you about snakes if you're standing at his booth. If you want to talk about snakes, he'll talk to you about snakes. Otherwise, he'll just be a delightful people person and chat with you, and it just makes you want to support his business. He's just a very good people person without that extra layer of, I'm doing this to try to sell you something, because he's not. You can just tell that that's how he is. So anyway, I've got a big soapbox that I could stand on. We could do an entire live stream just on this topic. There you go, April. I answered my answer to your specific question is, I think you're going to do fine. Everything else I said was for every other vendor that might be watching this live stream. And by the way, most vendors know everything that I just said anyway. Yeah, we can see Molly Malone. That's an easy one. You know what? I'm gonna pull out Molly Malone. First, I'm gonna look for Handsome Dan. Oh, found him. Not worried about it. He's right. He's literally right at my feet. We're gonna bring out Molly Malone. This is a great idea. I haven't seen Molly Malone for a while. I mean, I haven't had her out for a while. She's just a lovely snake. This is an ultramel ball python, ladies and gentlemen. Het for some stuff, but it doesn't matter. This is just what ultramel looks like, regular ultramel. One of the prettiest morphs, just on its own. So lovely. Okay, another super chat. April S, thanks for the super chat. Thanks for the answer on vending. I love talking to people. Whew, I think I'll be okay. Yeah, I think you'll be fine, April. Yeah, that was a long answer. I realized I was rambling. I got on my soapbox on that one. But that's one thing I really like about going to these shows is the people interaction and watching how certain people interact with other people, Okay. Molly's choking me out a little bit. I think I'll be okay. If I pass out, I probably won't be out for long, so don't worry. Hey, I don't want you on my desk right now, lady. Look at her pattern. Look how cool her pattern is, like right here. Real cool snake. Little head shy. All right. Daryl says, regurgitation when attempting to feed again. I've heard several opinions from waiting 4 days to 2 weeks after a snake regurgitates. I'd love to hear your opinion. My 10-month-old blue-eyed leucistic ball python, which I rescued 4 months ago, weighs roughly 240 grams as of last month. Okay, 10 months old, 240 grams, very small. I'm feeding her every 5 to 7 days, and she had been eating well up till the last feeding. I'm feeding her 20-gram frozen thawed rat pups. So regurgitated the last feeding. I think actually that this went on. Somebody else said something about it, and I think Daryl said that the snake had regurgitated twice. But okay, it's wait at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. So the 4 day, I've never heard somebody advise 4 days. That's crazy. What we're doing, and I actually answered Daryl. I gave Daryl the answer right when he asked, because I didn't want him to try to feed again. The reason is not because we want their stomach to get better. It's because when a snake regurgitates, they have such strong stomach acids that it creates sores up their throat. So they have sores on the interior of their neck and their throat, and you need those to heal. Otherwise, when they try to eat something again, it just reopens those sores. So I think you may have said that the snake regurgitated, you tried to feed maybe a handful of days later, they ate but regurgitated again. So my advice was wait 2 to 3 weeks, try to feed again. If the snake regurgitates, it's a vet time. If your snake regurgitates multiple times in a row, it's a vet situation. So we already talked about heat and stuff. The parameters and everything are correct. The other thing that someone mentioned, and in this case, the snake was genuinely regurgitating, but it is common for people to feed a frozen thawed rodent, close the cage, walk away. They see the snake strike and wrap, and so they walk away. Then they see the rodent in the cage the next morning, and they go, "Oh, it regurgitated," but it didn't. It just didn't eat. Regurgitation smells terrible for one thing, but it's clear it's pretty gross. It's not just a rodent laying in the dirt. So yeah, give it 2 to 3 weeks. Try again. If the snake regurgitates that, then it's a vet visit. Patrick with $100 super chat. Thanks for that, Patrick. That's really nice. That's very generous. I finally got my girl, Orange Dream, Yellow Belly Pied, 100% double het hypo ultramel. That's a great snake. That sounds amazing. Named her Ripley. Good name. Thank you so much, not just for passing on your knowledge, but giving me the confidence that I can be a good snake dad. Oh, Patrick, that's so nice. I really appreciate that. What a generous super chat and a nice thing to say. I'm glad that you have confidence to care for that snake. So Orange Dream, Yellow Belly Pied. That's beautiful. 100% double het hypo ultramel. Wow, that is crazy. Are you planning to breed that snake? Because that's a pretty amazing combo. Congrats on that snake. That's awesome. Okay. Handsome Dan's still just at my feet. He never goes far. He just wants to be where he wants to be. For those of you who are in for the long haul and will be here probably on hour 4, and I'm about to leave, I need you to put in the chat, find Handsome Dan. Okay. I mean, look, his cage is open. I'll notice that his cage is open, so it won't be the end of the world, but Trenton, you want to ship to Sweden? It's tough, man. The shipping cages is really difficult. Shipping cages overseas is difficult, but maybe there's a way to do it. I don't think there's any cage companies that ship overseas that are in the U.S. Look at Molly's doing great. She just found her spot up there on the hat. This was a good idea to get Molly out. I forgot who asked for that, but it was a good idea. Let's see, where are we at with these Patreon questions? Pam says, is there bacteria from rats or mice that I need to worry about when feeding? I try to clean the area where they were, but when the snake has them, I'm sure it touches other spots while they're eating that I don't get clean. No, Pam, nothing to worry about. Think about it. I think a lot of people think of rodents that they're feeding their snakes as like alley rats that would be really dirty. Like if you touched a rat in the alley in New York City, you'd have to immediately wash your hands and maybe burn them, you know. But these rodents that you get from a good source like Lane Labs are very clean and nothing to worry about. They're not decaying, you know. They're flash frozen, so they're humanely euthanized, then flash frozen, and they're not like in the process of decay sitting there, you know, leaving all kinds of crazy bacteria in your cage. So it's not really something that you have to worry too much about. I don't clean the area around where they ate. The only time that I'm cleaning anything is if there's blood. Then I'll get that up, but I don't worry too much about it. Pam's second question, how long should I leave rats and mice in the freezer before they're considered bad and not to be fed? This question came up a few live streams ago, and I actually asked Lane Labs about it, and I can't remember the specific answer, but in my brain, my thought is generally for rodents that have hair, so we're not talking about pinky mice or rat pups, things like that. If the rodent has hair, 6 months to a year, depending on how well they're kept, if they're in a sealed airtight bag. And then the rodents that don't have hair, you'll see the freezer burn on them, and they get freezer burned within several months. You know, you'll see the spots. Freezer burn looks like white spots all over the animal. And feeding a freezer burned animal is not the end of the world. But I try to get fresh ones if I see a bunch of freezer burned on a prey item. You guys, I'm drinking. I got coffee here. I got Green Room Python's coffee right here that you can get from the Cold Blooded Caffeine Company, by the way. I got Green Spot, for those of you who joined a little bit later, Green Spot Irish whiskey. That is my favorite Irish whiskey. And I got my water right here because hydration is important. So we're all set. I got Molly Malone going through my beard. It's a good day, you guys. Where am I? Hang on, let me double check that I haven't missed anything. Oh, I have missed. Hang on. Let's see if there's any others. Teresa is asking how old Molly Malone is. She's not young, Teresa. Let's see. I'm guessing that Molly is 5 years old, but let's just double check. Connecting to my Husbandry Pro app. That's what I use. Not sponsored, just that's what I use. Molly. Oh, come on. Sort by name. There we go. Molly is 6 years old. She hatched. She's 6 years old next month. Next week. Next week, she's 6 years old. She hatched 2020. So happy hatch day to Molly. Just watching Handsome Dan there. It looks like he wants to. The thing is, he's all tangled in. I've got a light post here. I've got my desk post, and I've got my computer. My computer tower is down there, and he's kind of wrapped in all that stuff. but he is awake and tongue flicking, and it looks like he wants to move away from that. Once he moves away from it, then I can get him. But I'm not trying to wrestle him right now while I'm on a live stream. Molly has taken his place on the back of the chair. We're going to, by the way, we're going to bring the super dwarfs out at some point because I got to put them back in their cages. They've been out in the snake wall room all day. And I'm pretty sure Stella is awake and moving around in there. Echo is inside a box sleeping. She's been like that all day. Okay. Chantal says, I have a new juvenile ball python and wondering how best to increase and maintain the humidity in his 20-gallon glass tank with a screen lid. We've heard conflicting information about this for ball pythons and want to learn the best way to keep him humid and healthy. Yeah, so it's not species specific. This is just keeping humidity in a glass cage, regardless of what you have in it. It could be a lizard, frog, whatever. It doesn't matter. Cover the screen top. Well, a lot of people use havoc tape, but you can also use rubber mats, you know, that are whatever that material is that doesn't melt. So if you have a light or a heat source, a heat lamp, you would cut around that. So the only exposed part of the screen top is for where the heat lamp sits. Otherwise, you cover it because that is where your humidity escapes. And then just have substrate that holds humidity well. So cocoa husk is a good substrate. The jungle mix. There's a number of substrates that hold humidity well, and you just want to have enough in there that when you mix water into it, it holds your humidity. And that's what you want to do. Don't just spray. You know, a lot of people go, I spray every day and it still says 30% humidity. Don't spray, because as soon as you spray, you're putting a small layer of water on top of everything, and that dries out and evaporates, and then you're back to dry. So you want to mix water into the substrate. And that's how you hold your humidity. That should work for you. Lisa says, I recently was under a get ready to evacuate order. I have several lizards and snakes. I have deli cups, totes, snake bags, sphagnum moss, hand warmers in my evacuation kit. What else do you think I should have? Probably nothing else. I did a video on evacuating and talked about what I bring. What I will say is replace your hand warmers with reptile warmers. You don't ever want to use hand warmers because those get way too hot for reptiles. There are reptile specific shipping warmers that are a similar product, but they don't get nearly as hot, and they keep reptiles at the temps that they need to be at. So I would just do that, and you're probably good. Stony Jones, thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you have a question to go along with that, or comment or something. Sometimes, a lot of times, especially when you do a first super chat, it's hard to tell how to put the question in. But I'll look for, just put it in the chat and I'll look for it if you have one. This one is getting a little squirrely. I think I'm going to put her back. Everybody say goodbye to Molly Malone. She's very pretty. Oh, handsome Dan is going where I want him to go. He's leaving where he was all wrapped up. Let me just, while I'm up, let me just peek in and see if I can easily get to Stella at least. Let me just see what's happening with these reticulated pythons in the other room. Oh yeah, she's causing all kinds of trouble. What, Mama? She is lightly ransacking the place. I open the door. There's a hat on the floor. There's other stuff that have come down. I've got it set so she can't ruin much, but she definitely has knocked over as much as she possibly can. Stella, everyone. We're not going to have her for long because she can ruin things here. Can I just make sure this is you? It is. This is Stella. Okay, let's see where we're at. Okay, Coda has a question. So the Horde of Keepers got to see the cages early. I've already shown them the cages. Coda says, I've been checking YouTube like 5 times a day, hoping for a video review on these new enclosures. I'm ready to see your breakdown of them. Yeah, so I gave a bit of it in this, but Monday's video is all about the cages, shows us putting them up. It was a lot of work on a very hot day. I will say, I mentioned in the video, I think, that it was the hottest day so far. It was in the 90s. Today was 103. I'm glad we didn't do it today because this week we're in the hundreds here in the San Fernando Valley, in the Toluca Lake area of Southern California. It's very hot. So as much as I was complaining about it then, I'm glad we weren't doing it this week. But yeah, hauling cages out and all of these cages in was it was a lot. It was a lot. Everybody's saying retic shenanigans, saying hi to Stella, such like that. She's already off to the shenanigans. Yeah, that'll work. A big 7-foot snake on my hat. Okay. I just highlighted a message from Crisis, but here's their question from Patreon. Prior to the house fire, my BCI would be up on his branches and visible during the day. After the fire, he now hides on the ground in regular snake hides. I never see him climb or really out anymore. He's been given a clean bill of health by my vet. Is it possible this change in behavior is some sort of trauma response? Crisis, I wouldn't say necessarily trauma response. It may not have been traumatic. I mean, from what I understand, all your snakes were fine. Like they weren't singed or anything, right? So it might have gotten warm that day for them, but they ended up okay. I think you had some cats that didn't, which is really unfortunate, but I think your snakes all ended up okay. So it probably isn't a trauma response. It's just that sometimes when a snake goes through a change, like they move residences, even something like that, they'll change their behavior. So it's probably just that. I doubt that it's something to be too concerned about. It's just that your snake is shifting their behavior, and they'll probably shift again. Maybe not necessarily back to what they were doing before, but they might shift and do something differently when you move into the rebuilt home. So, yeah, that's something I expect. I mean, I always expect snakes that I ship out to people. I expect them to sometimes act a little bit differently than they did when they were here. Here, let me catch up on super chats here. Heather says Atlas shed this week and has about a 3-inch piece that is still stuck. Can you walk me through how best to do this since we haven't handled much? Please. Yes, pretty simple. I would just hold Atlas with get a warm, wet paper towel or washcloth or whatever with lukewarm water, and just try to hold, if you can hold Atlas in your lap or whatever, with just that paper towel or whatever on the spot for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long he'll allow you to do that. And then then you should be able to easily get it off. I almost had retic problems here, you guys. That's the best way to do it. And sometimes, depending on where it is, if it's just a piece on his back, you might be able to just take your fingernail and pick up a bit and just peel it straight off. But if it's trickier than that, I would use the wet paper towel thing. All right. Stella's going back in her cage. See, do we have a better view? Sort of. Let's put Stella back. One of the things I love about these Apex cages is their latches. They've got these really heavy-duty latches that my friend Willie, some of you know Willie's Reptiles. He has Apex cages, and I always liked going over to his place and going into his reptile room and doing the latches on his cages. They're solid. All right, Stella's back. Echo's still sleeping in a box in that room. So I'll let her do that. We'll put her back in a little bit. Crisis with another super chat. Thanks for that, Crisis. There we go. He did bite the animal control officer during the rescue. He's usually not a biter unless you have food. No burns or smoke issues with snakes. I mean, that's great that there wasn't smoke issues. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine that was probably a chaotic situation. And if the animal control officer was running in there to grab the snake, he was probably pretty scared, you know. So yeah, I mean, it was probably a traumatic day for him, but my guess is that it wouldn't be traumatic enough to permanently change their behavior. However, just a change in living situation is enough to change their behavior sometimes. So you never know. It's hard to say. I wouldn't jump to blaming it on trauma. I would tend to blame it more on the normal reaction to a change of environment, which he's had, you know. Peaches, pet friends, thanks for the super chat. Bob, have you named your 2 baby house snakes yet? Yeah, that's Fox and Dana. I'll show them. You want to see the baby house snakes? They're so much bigger now. They were 2 grams when they hatched. I had to assist feed Dana her first 2 meals, and they were so small that I couldn't, even with my reading glasses on, I could not see her mouth. I just had to put the rat tail or mouse tail, push it into the front of her face until her mouth opened. Then I could see where it was. That was crazy. They were so tiny. I'll show you Fox, though. Dana is a little paratrooper, and I don't want to spend the time that it takes to prepare to get her out. But I'll show you the other one. And we're going to have more baby house snakes very soon. Next week, there will be new ones hatching, which I'm quite excited about. Oh my gosh. Dana has completely rearranged total furniture. Rearranging. You crazy lady. No, you're a boy. I always think of the albino one as a girl. This is Fox. This is a boy. Here. No, that's not good lighting. This is better lighting, but it doesn't have an autofocus. So it's tough to get a good view of this snake. Sorry about that. But that's the size. You can get the size anyway. Way bigger, so much bigger. just for the fun of it, I weighed these snakes when they first hatched before they had their first meal, and it was 2 grams. And I have no idea what they are now, but way bigger than 2 grams at this point. Like, this is, I can see his mouth. So I am interested to see, you know, these were the first 2 house snakes that I've hatched, and they were, their clutch was pretty desiccated. These are the only 2 that survived. And and they were very small. I think quite a bit smaller than a normal house snake, but I am going to weigh the house snakes that hatch next week to see. Those should be normal, you know. So I'll be interested to see what they weigh in at. My guess is they'll be 4 grams. I think they're going to be twice the size. Because usually you feed a baby house snake a micro pinky or a red hot pinky. A lot of people call them red hot, but they're the tiniest pinky mice, and they started off eating the head of a micro pinky for their first few meals before they could eat the whole thing. Pretty crazy. Yeah, for the late people, new enclosures. We've got a whole room full of new enclosures from Apex Reptile, and there's your discount code GRP. They're a new channel sponsor, and they're all bioactive, done by Bioactive Supply. Discount code GreenRoom20. We have 2 new channel sponsors. So we're rolling out the Apex Reptile channel sponsorship next week and the Bioactive Supply channel sponsorship in 2 weeks. But those discount codes are still good. And I'm giving you guys a sneak peek. Those of you who watch the live streams, get the sneak peek on what's going on over here. We got some really cool cages and great bioactive setups in them right now. I feel like I'm missing. Oh, maybe I'm not. Am I missing any super chats? No, we got it. Okay. This is a thing that I like about house snakes is once they're out, they are paratroopers. They're fast. They're way faster than pythons, and they'll leap out of their cages before you can grab them. But once you have them, they'll just wrap around your finger or your thumb or whatever. And I mean, same with the adults. My adult house snakes will just wrap around my fingers, and then you got them. Brandiella, those cage controllers, yeah, they skip town basically. So what I've told people is, so this is just so that people know, this was a Kickstarter campaign. They hired me to do a review of their product, to try their product. The product seemed good. It was a Kickstarter thing. This was a company in China. It's the last time that I will deal with a company in China because they just took off, and I had 4 or 5 different emails for different people in the company. I emailed all of them and never heard back. So I don't think that anyone is going to get that controller. But what you can do is get your money back through Kickstarter or through your credit card company. It sucks that you've got to do that though. Like, it's so frustrating. That was a couple years ago that that happened. But I looked into it and couldn't get anywhere with them. So pretty bad situation. I've dealt with Chinese companies twice. One of them was this company, which I really like their little statues, Coppertist, who did not pay me. And so what I got them to do is send me a bunch of product, and I have a bunch of their product now, but I don't care. Like, I didn't need a little alligator head. You know, it's cool, but I didn't need this stuff. It would have been nice to get paid for the little ad that I did for the product. It's a cool product. But what are you going to do with, like, what am I going to do? Hire a lawyer to sue a company in China? Wasn't that big of a deal. And then my second interaction with a Chinese company was this, I can't even remember what it was called, but it was this cage controller that was a cool idea. Like it was, and my guess is that they didn't set out to screw people, but probably they ran out of money or something and just skipped town. So I will not be dealing with Chinese companies anymore. Okay. So you don't even have to hold house snakes. You just put them on your thumb. They do great. Where am I at? Azara says, would you ever consider doing education programs on snakes and reptiles at any of the LA area schools? I remember we had a presentation at my school up in Anza that really got people excited about reptiles. I think you'd be great at it. Yeah, thanks, Azara. I would be great at it. I agree. I'm very good with kids. However, I think I can get to more people by doing videos rather than spending time taking my snakes somewhere to do a presentation at a school. I have done school presentations with friends of mine that work at schools. If a friend asks, I'll come to them, or they can. I have a friend who has a couple times brought their class over to the green room to see snakes, and I've done that. But I would rather spend my time doing videos on YouTube because that reaches a much larger audience. And if I tried to market myself to take snakes to schools, it would cut into the time that it takes me to produce the videos. But yeah, it's fun to do. I like doing that stuff. It's just not something that I want to really get into unless it's a friend of mine asking for a favor. Then I'm always up for that. Yoda the Jedi, thanks for the super chat. Yo, heartbroken that I can't join the live stream today because work is a thing apparently. However, break time means wonderful reason to jump in for 5 and give you my monies. Thanks, Yoda. I appreciate that. I'm sorry you can't join the live stream either, but you can watch it later. It'll be up later and you can watch at your leisure, but I appreciate that super chat. Thanks for doing that. All right. You guys, I am done with Green Spot. I'm going to trade it. So it's real hot in the green room right now. And so I put a couple bottles in the freezer. Because I'm not trying to drink warm whiskey. Hi, I'm back. Let me just make sure I know where Handsome Dan is. Okay, I got him. I had to get down on the floor. Nice chilled bottle of Wayward whiskey. This came from either Rebecca or Erica. I think Rebecca brought this bottle. I got some new whiskeys from both Rebecca and Erica during the Cage Build week. And oh man, that's very cold for you, young one. I think the freezer made this cork really hard to get off. Hang on. I'm going to put this one back. Anyway, Rebecca and Erica both came over to help with the cage build, and they brought me whiskeys, which was so nice. And this one, like I said, is one that I think came from Rebecca, but I don't quite remember. And it's a single malt. Single malt basically means Scotch. Single malt basically means Scotch, but it's not Scotch because to be Scotch has to be made in Scotland. And this is made right here in the good old United States. I think their cork expands when you put it in the freezer. Oh, it's nicely chilled. I like a chilled whiskey without having it be watered down with ice. If I remember right, this is a, hang on. It's lovely. It tastes different than normal Scotch. But it's nice. I like it. Okay. It's called Wayward. It looks like this. I had never seen it before. Oh, it's from Santa Cruz. This is definitely from Erica, not Rebecca. Erica brought this down with her from Santa Cruz because that's where she lives. Sorry about that, Erica, if you're listening, that I didn't get that right. That's lovely. Both Erica and Rebecca will be with us, by the way, on that Arizona herping trip for the Horde of Keepers that I keep talking about. So if you want to meet those two legends, as well as Jim Farr, who we already mentioned, he is also a legend. A lot of people will be there. Crisis will be there. Tanya will be there. A lot of people. Avery, no, I don't have plans for Tinley this year because that trip that I'm just talking about is the same weekend. So we'll be on that herping trip in Arizona the weekend that Tinley is happening. Hang on, Azara. Now I'm wondering, Erica may not be going now. I said she was going, but I might be wrong about that. But you'll be there, so that's cool. Rebecca definitely will. I'm not sure about Erica. And I don't think she's in the chat to confirm. So, okay, Liz is asking, how's Carol doing? I just love watching your channel. Thanks very much. She gave me some compliments. I don't read the compliments when it's very nice, but it's embarrassing for me to read. But she said some nice things. Carol is doing great. Like I mentioned, she is terrible as the technology producer in the booth for the Aliens Are Behind Everything live stream. But other than that, as just a spider living in the green room, she's doing fine. She's doing good. I got to find a cricket to throw in there. She's ready to eat. One thing that surprises me about jumping spiders, they don't eat as often. I had heard that you feed them every couple days. That's not a thing at all. It's like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, I've never seen her thin. You're supposed to feed them based on what their abdomen looks like. She's never had a thin abdomen, and she's gone a couple weeks without eating. So I don't know what that's all about. I'm a beginner spider caretaker. Carol is my only spider. I think I'm doing all right with her. She seems happy. Tanya says, yes, Erica is going. Okay, great. That's good. This trip is shaping up to be very nice. Kathy Conway is coming. You guys are all telling me Erica is coming. Okay, good. You guys know more than I do. Kathy will be there, you guys. It's going to be a great trip. Heather, have you tried Barton's? It's 1792 bourbon, my fave. I don't think I have. What's the bottle look like? Hang on. 1972 or no, 1792. Dang it. That might even be wrong. I'm not looking at that window anymore. Barton's 1792 distillery. Oh, I have seen this bottle. Yes, I have had this. Yeah. I've never bought it, but I've had it in pubs before. I know I've tried that before. Not recent enough for me to even remember, though, but I'm sure I enjoyed it. I definitely recognize that bottle. Fizzy. Hey, don't know if you remember at Tinley last October, we showed you stick bugs. Of course I remember, Fizzy. You brought these stick bugs. They were really cool. We got babies this month. Oh, my gosh. We managed the husbandry, right? That's amazing. So you bought those stick bugs at Tinley. You showed me. I was very fascinated by them. And you got them to breed, and now you have little baby sticks walking around. That's amazing. Congrats on that. I don't know what the care is with stick bugs, but there's probably a trick to it. There's probably some skill involved in getting them to breed and successfully have babies. What do they eat? They must eat like leaves and such, right? Grace says, I think it's funny that you and Erica are going to meet in Arizona for the first time rather than just grabbing a coffee in Santa Cruz, where you both live. But I think you both will enjoy each other. I've met you both in person, and you're both delightful people. Okay. Where am I with the Patreon questions? Oh, back to Liz. So Liz asked about Carol, and then question number 2 are how are the Cape House snakes and their babies doing? Can we see them? Yeah, we just saw one. Would you be able to do a husbandry video on them? Yeah, I'll do a husbandry video at some point. Do you guys want to see the 2 adults? Do you want to see Harry and Asta? Let me see what they're up to. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go in that room because that's where they live. They live in the snake wall room. They're the only snakes that live in the snake wall room. But if Echo is up and moving, I might bring her out. So it'll be a surprise what I come out with. Let's see what's going on in that room. Okay. Echo's still asleep. Here's Asta. Asta laid another clutch, but she laid it right when I went to camp. And they are pretty much all desiccated, but I'm incubating them anyway. And we're hoping that a couple of them on the bottom of the pile hatch. But I'm not holding out a lot of hope. So she just recently laid eggs. She had a meal afterwards. It's great. It's going to be interesting to see how many clutches we get from her this year. It's a lot. They just keep laying eggs, these house snakes. It's crazy. And then we have Harry in here. I'm not going to pull him out because I don't need to bother him that much, but he's just in his piece of cork bark, hanging out. Let's put Asta here so I can have one hand free at least. Okay. Crisis, thanks for the super chat. After Arizona, I'm heading to Vegas to see Barbie before going home. I don't know, what's Barbie? Is that a thing that's happening in Vegas? I don't know what that is. Somebody explain to me what that is. Is there are we talking about Barbie doll Barbie and there's like some sort of exhibit happening in Vegas? Chase, no, her clutch has not hatched yet. Next week. We're looking forward to hatch next week. So we got a new clutch that probably will not make it, but maybe a couple eggs that will be like 60 days from now, 55 days from now, something like that. We'll see what happens with that. But then we have a good clutch that's a good clutch of 5 eggs that will hatch next week. Should hatch next week. Barbara says, hi, Bob. I finally added a carpet python to my little collection. She's a beautiful 2-year-old pop one times diamond. So half pop one, half diamond. These 2 species are from completely different locales. Yeah. With slightly different care requirements. How do I figure out which are best temperature and humidity, etc., to benefit her the most? Yeah. So humidity won't be a big deal. Just have the humidity around, 60 to 80% is fine either way. And then temperature, it's really not that big of a deal either, but you might keep the snake a little bit cooler. Diamond pythons are from a very cold area. For those who don't know, this is one of the most fascinating things about snakes. Like, I have a number of snake facts that I give that are really fascinating. Diamond pythons live in an area where also penguins live. They might feed on penguins occasionally. In the very southernmost part of Australia, it's very cool. And there are pygmy penguins. They're so cute. They're little pygmies that live there. And also diamond pythons live there. Coldest area in the world that pythons live. So with half diamond, half pop one, I would say to have your, still have a basking temp of somewhere close to 90, 88 to 90, but you could turn that off at night. You could give them a night drop. And then if you had them in a big enough cage and could get them down into the 70s on the cool side, that would probably be good. And I don't think it's probably not a snake you're planning to breed. So night drops and like a temperature drop during a certain season for breeding is probably not even an issue with it, but not a big deal. Katie, Dan, thanks for that super chat to check on Dan. I know where Dan is. He's under a table right now and he's probably going to stay there. I'm just going to have to get down on the floor to pull him out of there. Crisis, you met her during the meetup last year. Who are we talking about? What is this regarding? During the meetup last year. We had a couple meetups last year. Tell me who you were talking about and what meetup we're talking about. So I can confirm this. Christine, thanks for the super chat. Do you think a large mouse is good enough for 350-gram ball python? He can't catch a live rat to save his life. No. I mean, rats and mice aren't, it's not like rats are much faster than mice. So if does he have to eat live is the first thing I would say. But a large mouse is pretty small. A large mouse is pretty small. I would say a jumbo mouse. And at 350 grams, yeah, like a jumbo mouse would be fine for a 350 gram. But you could do it. You could probably do a live rat. Put him in a smaller. Keep him in his. I wouldn't even do that. I would just try again with the rat. But They could eat a jumbo mouse. That's my answer. Not knowing the whole situation. Detro3 Run, thanks for that super chat. That's a generous one. I appreciate it. Hi, Bob. You've said Boelen's pythons are a dream reptile. How would you keep one with temp fluctuations into the 60s at times while managing high humidity? Also, where would you buy one? Morph Market seems really limited. Yeah. So if I were in the market for a Boelen's python, first of all, you're right. It's the same as a diamond python. They get really cool. And in Southern California, you know, right now, my snakes, the coolest area for any of my snakes in the room right now, because it's 103 outside, is like 80 degrees. There's nothing less than 80 degrees in any of these cages. And for a Boelen's python, I would want to try to keep them cooler. There is, hang on a second. There we go. There is, coolers for cages. There's a way to cool a cage, and I don't know what it involves, but I've heard of it. So it's available. And the other thing I would do is I would look at keeping them on a porch outside, especially in the wintertime. Both diamonds and Boelen's pythons would be good candidates for living outside during the not hot season of Southern California. So I'd probably do that. And then as far as where to buy them, I would look for breeders or good importers it's tough with Boelen's though, because, you know, they say that they're from a farm, but that's not necessarily true. They could easily be just wild caught, you know. Occasionally someone that's trying to breed them will get an actual clutch that's captive bred, but it's tough, you know. So you'd have to look for a while before you found one that was you know, that you were comfortable with buying, I think. Gary at GS Reptiles occasionally has gotten Boelen's pythons, and I would trust Gary's source of Boelen's. I'd buy from Gary for sure. Oh, Barbie. Yes, I wasn't even I thought you were talking about a show or something. Thank you, Tanya, for that super chat. Yes, I did meet Barbie last year, and your dad, Ken. Right. So hang on. See, I didn't understand the context of this, this super chat. Now I get it. After Arizona, I'm heading to Vegas to see Barbie before going home. You're just seeing Barbie, the person that we met, that I totally know who she is. I was thinking that you were seeing a show because it's Vegas. I thought you were seeing a Barbie themed show. I get it. Tell Barbie hello for me. So sorry for that confusion. Toucan Chew, thanks for the super chat. No question. Wanted to say thanks for all your videos. I've watched a lot. And as such, I feel ready for my ball python next month. Also, the versatility of those new cages is awesome. Cheers. That's fantastic. Congrats on your new ball python. That's really cool. And I'm glad the videos have been helpful for you. Yeah, the versatility of these cages is amazing. For those of you who didn't listen to when I was talking about the cages before, who weren't on yet, what Toucan Chew was talking about with regard to the versatility is that you can expand these Apex reptile cages. So if you need a bigger cage for your snake, you don't just buy a bigger cage and get rid of the one you have. You buy an expansion to it. You can expand onto the side, onto the top, or onto the back. And another cool thing that I didn't even say, look at this. I didn't mention this before, but let's say I do mention it in the video that's coming out next week, but I don't care. I'm just going to tell you guys right now. Let's say you have one of these cages. Let's look over here. Can we see over here? Yeah. So this is a 6-foot cage. right here. Let's say you have just this 6-foot cage sitting on a floor. That's a corner cage. It's actually two separate pieces. So the top is 2 separate tops. So what you could have is a 2x2. I mean a 2-foot tall cage here, and then you could expand the top on this corner side, and you could have a 4-foot top or a 6-foot top. So it could be small on the bottom right here, and then an arboreal side up there. Or you could expand the whole thing to just be a taller cage. But you can make all kinds of configurations. It's real cool. Look at Asta. This is, by the way, this is a blue eye morph of house snakes. Blue eye's quite a popular morph. They used to call it blue-eyed leucistic, but then they realized that it's not a leucistic snake at all. Oh, is she going to crawl on my hat? That'd be a first for a house snake. And then Harry in here is T-positive albino. By the way, we found out with Asta's last clutch that hatched, we found out that she's het for T-positive albino. We didn't know that. But we ended up with a T-positive albino baby, which you just saw. I just had the baby out. That was a big surprise. So all of their babies are het for blue eye, and they're either het for T-positive albino or they're visual T-positive albino. So that's kind of cool. 2 very popular morphs in house snakes. Okay. Back to the Patreon questions. I'm going to put these house snakes back in a moment, but let me answer a question before I do that. Okay, this is an interesting one from Tanya. Tanya says, so you've said in several videos that snakes don't actually like to be touched. They just put up with it. And when they push against you, that's more of a bug off than keep doing that. However, Clint just posted a video in which he said the opposite. He's talking about Clint Laidlaw and Clint's Reptiles, who I respect a lot, said the opposite, that snakes do enjoy being touched, and the pushing against you is just like a cat or a dog. You've also said that snakes enjoy the feel of rubbing up against things, so that seems a little contradictory to not liking being touched. Thoughts? Okay, so I asked Tanya what video that was, and she sent me a clip of the video because it wasn't a regular video. It was a Patreon only video where Clint was talking about his Madagascar hognose snake. And the thing to Tanya, the tough thing here is that nothing is ever black and white, right? So Clint did say, he did say in that video that snakes like to be touched, which I disagree with. And I think if Clint and I had this conversation, we would probably land in the same general area. Number one, when we talk about snakes, we're talking about 6,000 species of animal. So every species is different. And then within one species, individuals are different. But it's safe to say that with most species of snake, especially the ones that are not social, there's not a lot of touch going on. And so the reason snakes are often bumping you and saying bug off is because for a snake that's non-social, we're not talking about garter snakes, a snake that's non-social, touch often means a predatory situation, like something's attacking them. So they have this natural defense of, hey, don't touch me. I watched Stella do it to Echo yesterday. They were up on top of these cages, and I was looking at, Stella was sleeping, curled up sleeping. Echo tried to crawl over her, and Stella bumped her. It was like, get off me. And Echo quickly moved away. You know, she got the hint. And that happens a lot with a lot of snakes. You touch them and you get this bump. And that's definitely not a push against, do that more. That's a get away from me type bump. there are certain snakes that if they're socialized to you and they know that it's you touching them and they're moving, you might touch them and they might push their body against you as they move, because they do that they'll do that on furniture and anything else. And they're just used to you. They know that you're not a threat. So they're just using you as something to push off against and to feel, because they do like the feel of things against them, or they seem to, they like to push themselves onto things. What was the other? The other thing I was going to say is this, that if you touch a snake, snakes also know the difference between something that's warm and alive touching them versus something that's not alive. So if you take a snake hook and touch a snake, they might not bump it. They might try to move away from it or whatever, maybe, but usually not even that. They just won't have a reaction. Let's say they're just curled up. You touch them with a snake hook, they do nothing. You touch them with your finger, they'll bump it, because they have those sensors on their body. They can feel that it's warm, that it's something alive touching it. They'll bump you away. If it's a hungry snake of a certain species, like a black-headed python, they might whip around and try to bite you because they think that's prey. So different snakes are going to act differently. But in general, snakes don't like to be touched necessarily. They'll get used to it. If the snake is very socialized to you, like that Madagascar hognose is to Clint, and Clint was holding that snake in that moment, so the snake knows that it's him touching it, then it might enjoy that touch. It might enjoy the feeling of that, of pushing against him or whatever. But that is not that's not indicative of behavior or an attitude of all snakes. So this is a tough one. That's a gray area. There's a lot of people that think of things only in black and white, and with all animals, just about everything is kind of a gray area. So we say these rules that generally apply to most snakes. And I would say that the rule of snakes don't enjoy being touched and you have to socialize them to that applies to most snakes. And there can be exceptions, So that's what I would say about that. Did I respond to everything? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I will talk to Clint about that though, and see what his thought is when because he mentioned in that little Patreon only clip that he realized a couple of years ago that snakes actually do like to be touched, because oftentimes, like when you lift up a rock, you'll see them cuddled up together. They do enjoy that feeling of being curled up with one another. And I notice it with my ball pythons, which are not supposed to be social snakes, so like a social species. But when they're out in the room together, the ball pythons will often congregate together, curl up, and they seem to enjoy that touch of being curled up together, that safety of being curled up together. So I would say that once a snake thinks of you as a safe haven, like they would another snake, they would enjoy that. So they know it's you. They got to know it's you. You can't go up behind them and just surprise them with it, but they know it's you, and they're already very well socialized to you. They might enjoy that touch. But otherwise, in a normal situation, they would not want a monkey just running up to them, touching them. That's what I'll say about that. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. I'm not going to read it till tomorrow, but I will read it. Okay, I'm going to put these house snakes back. These house snakes that, let's see if, look at this. She doesn't mind being touched right now. She knows it's me. She won't crawl out onto my hand, but she definitely will come out of her hide and tongue flick on me. And she doesn't run away immediately. But look at this. I'm not getting any kind of negative reaction to this. That's kind of cool. Let's see if she's head shy. I've never touched her head before. So we're doing this for the first time. Doesn't seem to be too head shy. Maybe a little. Okay, a little bit. Like, stop bothering me. I'm just bugging her now. And then Harry's just in there somewhere. We're not going to bother him. All right, I'm putting them back. I'll be right back. I might bring out Echo if I can easily get her. I have just an open box in that room that I haven't figured out where I'm going to put it yet, but it's full of heating elements and old equipment from black box cages that I got for these cages, and most of them I didn't need. And it's just sitting there open, but it's got all these heating elements in it. And Echo has decided that that is the spot that she's going to sleep every day. So when she goes into that room, she goes straight into that box, curls up on all the boxes of heating elements, and that's where she goes. Also, you know, Echo, for those of you who have watched the channel for a while, I'll probably mention this in a future video, that, you know, she is notorious for biting me and for coming out of her cage, finding a spot to set up an ambush position, and she's just in ambush looking for food. That behavior has changed. It's not as much of a concern anymore. I've talked about it a lot, that I was worried that, you know, when she gets up to a good size, which she's a fairly good size, it wouldn't be a big deal if she bit me, but it would be more of an issue than when she was tiny and she was biting me, you know. But she just doesn't do it anymore. She doesn't really, she kind of crawls around and then she finds her spot to curl up. So fortunately, that annoying behavior has changed, and I don't get as worried about Echo just randomly biting me anymore. Same with Maya. The only two in the room who are kind of notorious for biting me. That was kind of a young snake thing that they did. Back to Chang. Thanks for the super chat. Are you doing a new bioactive episode soon with your new sponsor? We're super interested in transitioning to bioactive. Yes. Next week is the cage build video where you're going to see all the cages coming in. That was a crazy day. The week after that is bioactive supply coming in. Chris from Bioactive Supply came in with a truckload of plants, substrate, all this stuff. And it's so good because I talked about this earlier in the live stream, but she is like, I let her basically do everything and we just helped her. We were like her helpers, but she explains some things that she's doing and why. And I think that's going to be helpful for people who want to go bioactive. So that'll be a good video to watch. She also chastises me for not watering my plants that are outside the cages. Really, she was very abusive to me about that. So I kept that in the video because I want you guys to see how I'm treated for not properly watering my plants. I'm not a plant guy, but I'm becoming a much better plant guy because Chris and Emily are there to show me the way, basically. Let's see. Shane, thanks for the super chat. Hey, our family is considering an African egg-eating snake. That's cool. Those are cool snakes as our first reptile. Aside from food availability, any reason you'd steer us away from them? Not that I know of, really. I've never kept one before, but I think they're really cool, and they seem to be good pets from what I've seen. And yeah, if you can get the quail eggs, you know, I'm guessing you're getting a baby. I don't know if they transition to, I don't know if when they're adults you can feed them chicken eggs or if you have to stick with quail eggs. I have no idea. But if you can source the food, I think it's a really cool and fascinating too, right? Because they swallow these eggs. They're the only snake that does this. They swallow these eggs, crush them in their throat, basically, spit up the egg shell, and eat the contents. It's pretty interesting. Let me know how that goes. Let me know if you end up getting one. They're not super common because that's the main thing, is that you got to be able to source quail eggs, especially if you get a baby. You got to source tiny. It's when you get a baby, you've got to source like finch eggs. That's the tough thing. Is quail eggs aren't hard to source. It's the finch eggs when they're babies. That's the issue. Hang on a second. I just got a text from Dave Kaufman 8 minutes ago. It says, hey, so I'm surfing through the YouTube and came across your newest video. When I clicked on it, you are live. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but I just wanted to let you know that you are live. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. You should say something in the chat. Has he already said something in the chat? One thing about Dave Kaufman, you guys, he loves attention. And man, if he could get some attention by saying something in the chat, if he does it, look, if he comes back, because he's not watching right now. He just watched long enough to send me that. Oh no. He just said, I'm watching you on my TV, so I can't type. That means he's hearing what I'm saying right now. Oh, now I feel terrible. Because he can't type on, he's watching it on his TV. He can't. He does love attention though. And so basically he's getting attention through me talking about him now. Yes, Dave, do it. I'd like to hear your voice right now. I'm not even going to respond in text because he's watching this. We're going to get a phone call from Dave Kaufman, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's saying hi, Dave, in the chat. I don't know if he can see the chat when he's watching this on TV. Also, where is this snake? Okay. I got to make sure I know where Stella is. He also, you know what? He also might be behind on this. Hang on. Yes, comma, call me, period. Are you behind on the live stream, comma, or are you hearing what I'm saying about you right now, question mark? Okay. He might be behind. Crisis, thanks for the super chat that says, hi, Dave, from all of us. I feel like that's a super chat for Dave, so I will make sure to give him $2 next time I see him. He said, so you guys heard what I just texted him because I did a voice thing. He said, no, Nori had to go potty, so I'm outside right now. Okay, comma, call whenever you want, and we'll put you up to the mic. Hang on. I have an idea. I have an idea, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if this works. Just give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Oh, this is not working at all. Almost there. There we go. I just sent you a StreamYard link on Facebook, period. Click on that and you can just be in the live stream. All right. There we go. Okay. So we might be joined by Dave Kaufman in a moment. But we're going to put Stella back because I don't want to be responsible for her right now. Oh my gosh. You guys, I'm so dumb. I put Echo in Stella's cage. I just noticed Stella going into... Hang on. I got to get Stella out. Dave, if you're watching right now, don't jump in the live stream yet. Wait till I'm done with these shenanigans. Okay. What a great day for Echo this was. Because she got to go into a cage that she doesn't know. This is all they ever want to do is go into another snake's cage. This is ridiculous. Okay, now she's getting away. All right, we're putting her back in her cage, in Echo's cage. All right. Was that fun? Did you have a great time singing Stella's cage? They're so nosy. Snakes are very nosy about other snakes' cages. All right. Now Stella's going back in her cage. Crisis averted, everyone. Okay. That was ridiculous. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Thanks for being patient while I did that. Hold on, I gotta scroll. Oh, we got a couple super chats to do while we're. Tanya, thanks for the super chat. I'm watching on TV, but chat on my phone. That's how I do both. See, this is what I tell my mom. My mom always wants to watch it on the TV, but then she says I can't be in the chat, and I'm like, Mom, do the chat from your tablet or your phone. That's how it's done. Katie, thanks for the super chat. Have Dave out while talking to Dave. That's a great idea. You know what? I would love to bring Dave the snake out. He's in that cage right now. I'm not, though, until he eats, because he did refuse his meal last time. He's the only snake that, after being put in the new cages, refused a meal. So I just want to make sure he eats before I mess with him too much. Weird for a reticulated python to refuse a meal. So. So it did worry me a little bit, but it could happen. You know, they get a new cage. They could decide they're not hungry. So we'll see how that goes. Caleb, well played. Well played. Reticulous indeed. You guys get it. I don't have to explain that one. Squashador, do I know how long Douglas is roughly? Yeah, he's roughly 5 feet, but maybe longer because he's about to shed, and he looks bigger every time I feed him. He's really good at putting on weight. Let's see if he's even... Look at this. Oh, you know what I can do, you guys? Watch this. I just realized that I can switch to my... We're going to switch cameras. You're going to see a little... It's going to go black and you'll see a little working thing, but it's going to switch to this camera. Look at that. Oh, and Dave's calling me right now. Dave, go to your Facebook and click on the link. Okay. Bye. All right. Hang on. Is this... Oh, it didn't work. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Sorry, guys. That was such bad timing. Okay, now we're going to switch back. I think it screwed it up because I got a call that came in. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at Douglas now from the phone. He is probably going to shed tonight. There he is. He's got a cool cage. He's got some cool stuff in his cage. What I'm realizing when I'm using my phone here, I can't see on my phone what I'm filming. So it's not the best. Let's see, is there anything else I can show you before I... Here's this one. That cage is pretty cool. Sorry if it's not a good... There's Maya doing her thing. All right. I'll switch back. That's probably not the best camera to use, but I just realized the other day that I can do it. Did that work? Could you guys still hear me and everything when I switched to that camera? It didn't switch my audio, right? Christine Blue, thanks for the super chat. Christine says, I met Dave at Tinley. He gave me ball python enclosure advice. Oh, that's cool. He's a good advice guy. I like Dave's advice. So I feel like that $3 is a Dave super chat also. So now I owe Dave $5 when I see him next. Okay. I'm just waiting for him to jump in. In your Facebook messages, I sent you a link to the StreamYard. Never mind, I just saw him. You guys, we have a special guest appearance from Dave Kaufman.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to hear you.
Oh, hang on. Let me turn off the
TV. Set my headphones again. You can say hi to them. They can hear you. Just chat with the viewers.
Okay, I just had to turn off the TV. All right. No, I just got to say that Nori is it's 9:30 at night here in Minnesota, and that's time for Nori's poopy walk. And then she probably sees a coyote in the yard right now.
Is that Nori barking?
That's Nori barking at something outside.
Dave Kaufman, what a wonderful live stream surprise.
You know, it's a dang good thing that I was perusing YouTube when I saw that you were live, because I really crave attention. I haven't watched the live stream at all. I didn't hear anything that you said.
No.
Really crave attention. And
I know.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I could pop on.
You like the attention
in the middle of the night, as it were.
Dave, let me ask you something. You've been to the green room. You've seen the cages in the green room. Do you notice anything different?
Your hat. You got a new hat.
It's not my hat, Dave. It's
not
my hat.
Wait. Don't tell me. Your glasses. Those are awesome, dude.
They are awesome glasses. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Dave, I got new cages.
Green microphone. Where did you get that? I don't look at the microphone. I don't got a green microphone.
It's just a cover. You can just just a cover.
Yeah. Yours is cooler.
Yeah.
So how you doing?
Look at my new Apex cages.
Whoa! I would have never noticed those had you not pointed those out.
Pretty cool, right?
Those are pretty cool. I like those.
Yeah. Actually. They have a colored front. You can change the front. They just have snap-on fronts of different colors.
No way.
You can change, yeah.
And that's the color you chose. Wow.
They're black cages. I wanted to start off with green, but I'm going to get the other colors, and we might have multicolor cages later, but I can basically change the look of the room by changing the cages.
I dig it. Let me make this a little bit more uniform. Huh? Maybe.
So Dave, this is your office.
Yeah.
Your office is my favorite room in your house. I like your reptile room also. Will you show me so you guys, in Dave's office, he's got all the artifacts that he's brought from different countries. So every country he's in, he always brings cool stuff home. Will you show me something that is one of your favorite cool things and tell me about it?
Yeah, hang on.
I like that very frightening mask also that I'm looking at, whatever that is. That's probably from a horror movie.
Which mask?
You got up and there's a very frightening mask, right? Nope. No, a mask behind you, directly behind you.
Oh, the green one.
Yeah.
That one?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I got that in Costa Rica.
Oh.
This is one of my prized possessions.
Oh, tell me about that.
This is an actual voodoo doll that I got in Togo? Benin? No, it was Togo.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we all think about voodoo dolls as these things that you stick pins in. That's the Americanized version of a voodoo doll. This is an actual voodoo doll.
Wow.
Yeah. Little feathers.
Very cool.
I've never looked. Oh, well, I guess.
You never looked up the skirt until now.
I didn't do that just now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my voodoo doll that I got.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Nice. Hey,
Yeah.
By the way, you have a new channel also, and here's someone who loves it. My kids love Life with Nori channel.
I'm so happy to hear that. And I got to take it down.
The channel?
Yes. And there's a reason why, and it has nothing to do with Nori. Nori is totally fine, but I've been going over this for a month. Well, maybe a week. But as I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but YouTube made some very big changes, and they're not all good. And so I've got 2 other channels that I also want to launch. Thing with Nori's channel is that it takes me like 4 days to edit a video, which is 4 days away from me doing the food channel, me doing the reptile channel, and me developing this new channel that I'm going to hopefully launch in November.
Right.
I've got an entire business platform built around the channel that I'm going to start in November. So if a Nori video takes me 4 days to do, then I've got to upload all the shorts to wherever else. It's taking too much time away. And because of the changes from YouTube, I would have to then basically work for free for a year before I see any kind of return of my investment.
I get it. That's a bummer.
And it's taking time away from, what I do to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
I think, and if I would have waited a month and heard what YouTube was doing and the changes that they made,
I would have held off on launching it.
I would have held off on launching Nori.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll start it again later.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a little false start.
All right. So false start on that. But you've done a lot of work on it for a long time. We've been talking about that channel for a long time, you and I.
Yeah,
and
for a year. So
it will probably be back up. I want to talk to you about that. Just you and I at some point, because I'm curious about this. But here's a very important super chat that I want to, because
I can't.
There's been a couple super chats that have been about.
I'm going to wear glasses. There
have been a couple of super chats that have been about you. So I'm saying that money needs to go to you. But Crisis Corps just said, my Dave super chat was for you to keep the money. He gets the attention. Everyone wins.
I would rather have attention than money. So you keep that. Yes,
that's good. So we're down to, I think, me owing you $2 at this point instead of $5. And then Crisis also says, Dave made it just in time to help me clean my blood python enclosure. Okay, cool. So Crisis is cleaning. Crisis has a blood python that she loves very much. She has a lot of other snakes, but the blood is the favorite.
Well, they don't
create a lot of poop, right? Blood pythons. They're tiny little snakes.
Dave. That was worse.
That made it worse. You think that your greasy thumb is gonna?
Oh, my fingers are
your lens
greasy. There we go. I use the non-greasy thumb this time.
Dave just ate fried chicken and then tried to clean his screen with. Yeah. Anyway, Dave, I've got these new. Now I want you to come back over because you gotta see these. These are.
We got to film the food videos in LA too.
I know. We'll film some food videos, but look at this. These are corner cages on both sides. We talked about that. I told you that I was going to do this. I told you what the plan was, but I got 6-foot corner cages on both sides. I got this. I got 4-foot cages here, and then I have another bank of 4-foot cages on the other side that you can't see over there.
Gotcha.
But they're real cool.
And I remember when you sent me the photo on those.
Oh, that's right. I already sent you the photo. You've already seen them. Yeah. And the windows on the ends are pretty cool.
That is really cool. That is
Yeah.
really cool. What is she doing? What now? That's really strange. She's just laying on the couch over there, being such an angel.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually she's begging me for. She's such a funny dog. I mean, it's 9:30. I don't need to watch anymore with her because at 5:30 in the morning I get the paw in my face. Daddy, get up. It's time for potties. It's time for breakfast.
Yeah.
So I get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Noon, she comes into this office when I'm editing, and she puts her paw on my lap, and she's like, "Daddy, it's time to go to the dog park," which is just down the road. So we go to the dog park. Then at 5 o'clock, Daddy, it's time for dinner. Then it's time for poopy walks. Then at 9:30 at night, which now it's 9:50, she is like, I got to go on my final poopy walk. Then we'll come back, and she will literally bark at me. If I'm in the living room over here watching TV, she will bark at me because, no, it's time for bed. We have to now continue our evening watching TV in bed.
So she knows the schedule, and you don't need to look at a clock anymore.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Correct. No,
she is one of my two favorite dogs.
She's amazing.
Yeah. That dog and Amy Bentley's dog, Indy, are my two favorite dogs. They're just lovely, delightful.
They are, and thank you. And she's just sitting over there so peaceful and leaving me alone, but I kind of want to go bring her over here so that she can be on the live chat. I'll tell you what. Somebody does a super chat for not a lot, not anything extravagant, but let's just say $2,000.
Whatever you super chat, I will owe to Dave. And he said,
what do I need money for? I don't need money.
She was nice enough to bring Dave with her. That is the thing. At Dave's booth now, if you go to Tinley or any of these other shows that Dave brings Nori to, Nori is the draw.
I'm no longer the draw. She is.
It's a bonus that Dave might happen to be there, but
yeah. How many people are on?
We got close to 200 right now.
200. Okay.
It's kind of ebbing and flowing. We have 198 at the moment.
Wait a minute. Have you been live for 3 hours now?
Yeah, Dave. These lives go a while.
Are you doing another 24-hour live right now?
No. These live streams, Dave, usually go about 4 hours.
4 hours. Okay.
So once a month I do a live stream that goes about 4 hours. When I hit 100,000 subscribers, I did a 24-hour live stream, which was crazy. That was crazy. I probably won't do that again, but it was fun. Like it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, these are usually long live streams. I mean, I'm not all the way through the questions, my Q&A that Patreon has submitted. Here's a super chat from Jenna. Hi, Jenna McKeegan. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Jenna.
You know Jenna, right? We all know Jenna.
Of course, yeah.
We all know and love Jenna. Jenna was with us on our herping trip in Minnesota.
Right.
Hey, Dave, glad I remembered to jump on tonight. Hope everything is well. The banana boy you sold, Mary, just got a huge upgrade.
Love it.
Hi, Bob. Still trying to work out Arizona if there are spots left. Jenna, there's always a spot for you left. I am getting our Airbnb this week, though, so we should talk about that.
Where are you guys going again?
We're going to Phoenix, basically, Dave.
That's right. Yes, I remember you telling me that.
And Brian from Rattlesnake Solutions. I don't know if you know Brian, but he is the rattlesnake guy in Arizona. He's basically going to be our guide. And we're going with Trenton of Apex Reptile, who builds these cages. He and Brian live about 3 miles from one another. They say they're next door neighbors, but the way the land works there in northern Phoenix, they are next door neighbors. But it's about a 3 mile drive between the two.
Chris said, is Dave coming to Arizona? I'm sorry, I can't. I have a warrant out for my arrest in Arizona. I can never enter Arizona again.
In a lot of states. It's not just
Minnesota. That's why I never leave here.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no warrants. I am going to not be there because
there was a come to Arizona.
No, there was a hang on. Oh, pardon me. There was a conflict. You told me the dates.
Yeah. Oh, it's Tinley. You're going to be at Tenley.
Oh, Tinley.
Yeah.
That's a conflict.
There is a conflict. It's weird. It is the exact weekend of Tinley.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Katie says, "Hi, Dave. My 2 faves in one live. Epic." I mean, this was a nice surprise, Dave, that you were
Sweetie
there and able to jump on. Is she telling you it's time to go to bed?
Oh, she heard something outside. All right. Well, she's not sleeping anymore. Hang on. Come here, baby.
Sometimes you get a dog and you become obsessed with that dog, you know? And Nori's look at that one. Look at Nori.
Where's Sweepy?
Oh my goodness.
She's like, what is going on? Come here.
I just want to
wait. Okay, find your footing. There you go, sweetheart. There you go.
Look at that pup.
There's Nori.
Delightful. Look at Nori.
Right here. Look.
She's becoming an adult.
Oh yeah, I know. Look at her. She doesn't look like a puppy anymore.
I know she's just a dog now.
Anymore.
I mean, she's definitely a puppy, but she looks like a dog.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. What a sweet pup.
She's looking right at you. Look at
that. I know. Hi, Nori. This is perfect timing for Meg's super chat. Please, can we see the puppy for the people? There we go. Nori, what do you have to say?
Well, she doesn't understand how she can like see you and hear you.
I know.
You're this tiny little guy right there.
You know,
she just doesn't get it.
It's funny. Usually dogs don't pay attention much to.
All right, sweetheart.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this is crazy, isn't it, Nori?
I know.
Yeah, Katie, you're right. She has gotten so big.
Can't come through and see Bob.
Dave, answer Tanya's question here. What breed is she?
Oh, what was my question?
What breed is she?
Border Collie.
Or full Border Collie?
No, Border Collie mixed with whatever it is, lightning bolt.
Else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly Border Collie.
Oh yes. Are you tired, honey?
She's a dog that
she just burped. Okay, good.
Likes exercise.
I'm so glad that you burped on live stream. That was great. Do you have anything to say to people? Do you want to say anything to anybody? You have the mic. You can say whatever you want.
No, nothing now.
Nothing.
She had all kinds of things to say.
She is absolutely fixated on you, and she cannot figure out how she cannot like greet you right now.
I know. I love that.
All right. You ready?
It's funny when Amy tries to put Indy on and he doesn't pay attention. There's, some dogs don't pay attention at all to video or audio. Something else. And occasionally dogs will focus on it, and she's clearly a dog that likes to look at video stuff.
Yeah, when we go on our walks, it's a very long walk, not because we go a long distance, but because we are constantly stopping and looking at things. And she'll like sit in the neighbor's yard and she'll just look around, and I will just sit right next to her and I'll be like, what do we see? And then I'll point out things. There's a squirrel, there's a bunny, there's some guy streaking for some reason. What a weird neighborhood I live in.
That's you, Dave. You're the one that streaks through the neighborhood. That might be you. Yeah.
No, but seriously, I mean, we literally stop and she just watches the world go by. There's I never took you to the woods when you were here. I took you up to the prairie, but not the woods that are just up here.
Yeah.
And like every bird, she will stop and just look at. And she won't chase. She won't try to get them. She's just like, I wonder what kind of bird that is. And then I tell her and we continue.
Interesting. Yeah. When you, I'm going to get to these super chats in a second. When you took me up to the prairie, we went to a couple of spots to go herping before our Patreon trip. Mm-hmm. But that one spot that was recently burned out was so interesting because it was a controlled burn that in an area like a meadow sort of that you would find bull snakes and hognose snakes and stuff like that. But they had control burned it. So Dave and I got out of the car and you just look around the land and you go, there's a snake, there's a snake, there's a snake.
When they do a controlled burn, that is like the best time to get up there and go herping.
Yeah. Cause you can just see them. They're out in the same spots that they would have been.
Right. There's like 50 hog noses that you would never be able to see if there was grass.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they didn't just flee to the edge of where it burned and go into the grass. They just stayed in their, they clearly went down into their holes, whatever hole they could find to be safe
right
during the burn. But
it worries me because if we can see them soaking the coyotes and the hawks and
they're just completely exposed.
Yeah.
Hunter, thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you have a question to go along with that. Crisis, thanks for the super chat. Crisis says, love you, Dave, Bob, and Nori, but I have to drive home from work now. If the stream is going when I get home, I'll jump back on. All right, Crisis, have a great drive. Thanks for all those super chats.
Okay, I'm sorry. I missed that one because I wanted to see where Nori, she's waiting by the front door for her poopy walk. What was that super chat?
That was Crisis Corp saying that she loves us all and she is jumping off the stream to drive home from work, and she's going to jump back on when she gets home.
Drive safe.
That's what I say too.
Yeah.
Christine, thanks for the super chat. Going back to Tinley, see you there, Dave. Are you going to be selling merch? Will you be selling merch in your booth
at Tinley?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's all I sell at Tinley these days.
Is merch. Are you bringing any ball pythons to sell?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I had 2 surprise clutches this year. So like I wasn't going to breed anything this year, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like 2 of my females go off feed, and I'm like, okay, well, fine, whatever. They're ball pythons. And then they went off feed, and then they went off feed, and then they went off feed. I went to go feed them again. I looked, and I was like, oh, so that's why. And I got some cool stuff.
That's cool.
Actually, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but let's figure this out.
All right. While you're figuring that out, I'm getting to Jenna's super chat. Jenna said, Mary says hi. Hi, Mary. She's just finished her first day of classes at West Liberty with Dr. Lauman and the rest of the crew there. That's cool. That's herpetology related classes at the university. Am I right about that? Very cool. Hi, Mary. Mary was with us in our herping adventure also.
Papa Walrus, I am working on that Fortnite skin. Every time you comment that on one of my videos and I read that in the comment section, the first time you did it, I was like on the floor. That was the greatest comment ever. And now you're still commenting that. And I do see that and I do read it and I absolutely love it. Working on that Fortnite skin, buddy.
Man, how amazing would that be? I would play Fortnite. If I had a Dave Kaufman Fortnite skin, I would play Fortnite.
Right. Well, when I first read it, I thought he said waiting on my Dave Kaufman foreskin. And I was like, you're a little late for that, buddy.
So late for that. So many years late for that.
That thing belongs to the ages now.
Oh my God.
So here, look. Let me see if I can just do this real quick.
Oh, yeah, come on. Those are the new babies that you just hatched?
The new babies that came out of a clutch and they just shed tonight.
Dude, those are incredible.
So
do those happen to be from any of those crazy new pieds that you got?
No, I haven't bred those yet.
Okay.
Yeah, those aren't from the crazy African pieds.
But still, those are amazing.
So comment right now what you think that these are.
I'll comment. I'll comment. I mean, I think maybe Orange Dream in there.
Yeah, both of them.
I mean, that looks like a clown head stamp, but
that's a clown. Yeah.
Oh, it is clown. Okay. So Orange Dream, clown. Is there pastel or fire in that?
No fire. Possible pastel.
Possible pastel. Okay. That's all I got.
So nobody commented.
I haven't seen comments yet.
Nobody loves us, Bob.
Nobody knows what morph your snakes are.
I know. All right. So this one,
asphalt. Somebody said asphalt.
No asphalt. This one is an Orange Dream yellow belly inchy pied clown.
Okay. So close with the asphalt guess. It's yellow.
Yeah. This one is a Orange Dream pied clown that's obviously yellow belly, and I'm pretty sure that's all that's in there.
Wow.
That is a male and a female. And now I've got to figure out, am I going to hold them or am I going to sell them?
That's tough because you've been trying to get rid of all pythons. Now you got something you like.
I kind of want to not get rid of everything. I can't get rid of everything. And get rid of it like it's not some sentient being. That's the incorrect term. I just want to cut back to a more manageable collection that I can keep up with and still do the new channels that I want to do.
Right. I get it.
So, yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to cut down to probably like 125 snakes. I'll cut down to.
Okay, that seems relatively manageable. That's still a lot of snakes, man. That's more than I have.
Well, to do that, I would need to then go out and buy 200 snakes and then sell 75 of them.
Right.
Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. No, seriously, I want to get down to pets. I don't really want to breed anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep my indigo. I'm going to keep Aries, my rhino iguana, of course. I'm going to keep those funky ball pythons that I brought back from Africa.
Get them all on Apex cages. Oh, you guys, my lights shut off at some point. Hunter, thanks for the super chat. Love you guys. You both have inspired me to get my first ball python. His name is Milo. He is Inchy Spectre Red Stripe Het DG. Thank you. That's awesome. That sounds like a great ball python.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good start.
I'm going to turn my lights back on in the cages. Hang on. There we go.
I can't believe what an angel Nori's being. Like, it is literally now 40 minutes past her poopy walk, and she is just sitting by the front door patiently.
She's doing it. Well, if you want to go, I mean, we don't. I don't have to have you the whole time.
If she's not like, in emergency mode, and she's just sitting there, I got time.
Okay.
I got nothing better to do on a Friday night like this.
Look at that! I got all the cages back on. Hang on. Okay. All right, we got it. So you guys, Dave and I have been talking about another trip.
Yeah, we got to take another trip.
We've been talking about, so Dave, I'm just going to tell you with everybody on, because I don't think I mentioned this. So you and I have been talking about El Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem that we've run into is finding a guide. When we go out on these trips, you don't just go by yourself and go out into the forest and hope you find snakes. You find someone that knows where the reptiles are, right? Local in the area.
For safety and so you don't waste your time.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people don't realize that we have got, a lot of times we show the guides in our videos, but sometimes we don't. And so, but that is the thing. And in El Salvador, I don't have any contacts to any guides. And really, you and I have the same great contact, which is Quetzal.
I was just going to say, Quetzal knows somebody there.
Quetzal doesn't know anybody there. And
really? That's surprising.
Yeah, no, I've
in the world, he doesn't know anybody.
You would think he would know someone in El Salvador. But I talked to a gentleman you may have heard of by the name of Adam Wickens about the fact that you and I, you look him up. He's a guy on the social medias. So
he's on social media. Yeah. Okay.
At the last Pomona show, I said Dave and I are thinking about going to El Salvador, but we can't find a guide. And he goes, "Oh, I'll go to El Salvador. Let's go. Let's all go."
Who, Quetzal said that?
No. Adam. And I said, cool. So here's my idea. This is for my video. This isn't your video or Adam's video, but mine is this. I
don't do my own videos anymore. I just do your videos, apparently.
Okay, good. We don't find a guide because we don't have a line on a guide. We do go there and just go out in the woods ourselves. And the deal is that we've got these 3 YouTubers who've never been to El Salvador. We don't know what we're doing, and we don't have a guide. And let's see what we find.
I'm in. I mean, first of all, El Salvador is now the safest country in the Western Hemisphere now.
Absolutely.
So we can go and walk around and
it's safe. And there's an unfortunate reason politically that it's safe, but the fact is that Americans can go there.
Right.
Yeah. So that might be a thing. That might be a thing. The 3 of us may end up in El Salvador.
I'm in. Hang on.
Yeah.
You okay? She's fine.
Kevin, I'm telling you, there are so many snakes in El Salvador. All over Central America, there are lots of snakes. Tons of stuff in El Salvador. However, you may not, if you weren't looking for snakes, that's the thing about snakes, man. You can be in an area where there's tons of snakes and you never see it because you're not looking for them.
That is true. I will say this, that, what were we talking about?
El Salvador. While you're thinking about what you're going to say, I want to answer Jackson's question. El Salvador is safer now because, without getting into tons of government stuff that I probably would say the wrong thing, the basics are that the government of El Salvador decided that they were going to round up every gang member and put them in terrible jails. And if you do anything wrong, you're just going to one of these terrible jails for who knows how long. It's just... It's like if you're a citizen of El Salvador and you're a slightly sketchy person, it's bad news for you.
Like if you have a tattoo that they think is gang related,
yes,
into prison you go.
You're gone. Yeah, exactly. So not good for the citizens of El Salvador because the government is really putting their thumb down on everything. But what it's doing is it's making it very safe for people to travel there. And the other reason that I want to go to El Salvador is it's also very cheap because people don't realize this yet. And so from Los Angeles to El Salvador, flights are like $300. Last time I checked, they may not be now, but there it's very cheap and staying there is very inexpensive. So it's an easy trip to do.
Well, I want to hit every country in Central America, and I've got 3 left. El Salvador is one of them.
That's a good goal.
Yeah. Nicaragua and Belize are the other.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna finish going through these Patreon questions, and then we're gonna wrap up this YouTube live stream.
I gotta take Nori for her poopy walk because it is, well, it's 15 after 10.
Okay. So it's only 8:12 where I am. Dave, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure. You know, it's so funny because I never get like an opportunity to literally sit and just channel surf, which is what I do. I don't want to know what's on. I want to know what else is on. So I was like channel surfing and I came across your thumbnail and it said live. And I'm like, he's not live this late at night. And I clicked it and sure enough, here we are.
Do you know why you came across that thumbnail, Dave? It's because these fine people watching this have hit the like button, which is telling YouTube to share the live, to show people the thumbnail.
To you when I was on my subscribe tab.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm trying to get.
No, I'm not. It's great that you're all liking Bob's video.
Thanks for being here, Dave.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.
Bye, Dave.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for the attention. I kind of need
that. You're welcome, Dave. I'm glad I could give you some extra attention.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye, Dave. We all love Dave Kaufman.
Well, there goes
Nori. We all love Nori as well.
Yeah,
he wants attention.
Time for potty. How do I get out of this crazy thing?
Just hit leave.
Hit what?
Whatever.
Hit what?
Just hit. Oh, there. You figured it out. Oh my gosh. All right, that was fun. It's always fun to have Dave Kaufman in the room. It was a fun little surprise. Tanya, thanks for the super chat. Nicaragua is hard. No filming allowed. Is that true? No filming allowed in Nicaragua? I got to look into that because now I want to go and film there. That's crazy. Okay, let's continue with these. Let's continue with these Patreon questions. Did you guys enjoy that? Should I have a cool guest in every live stream I do? I don't usually have guests. We have Amy Bentley sometimes when she's available, but we haven't really had other people. Red Sonia says, I have 6 new hatchlings, double het, hypo, T positive. She's talking about house snakes here. Red Sonia has house snakes. They shed. I tried to get them to eat, divided them up into 2s. Only one ate their pinky. Any suggestions? Yeah, my first suggestion is divide them up into ones. Don't feed them together. Definitely feed them separately. And just put them in separate containers if you need to, if they're living together. But that's really important. And then, you know, you can try putting tuna fish juice on the pinky. You can try chicken broth on the pinky. That sometimes works. And sometimes they just need to be hungry enough. But house snakes need to eat. Like ball pythons, I don't even attempt to feed until they're 30 days old, you know. House snakes, I want them feeding right away pretty much. As soon as they can. So try some juice and attempt to feeding like every 3 days for a house snake, I would say. Elena says, "Hey Bob, your opinion / pros and cons on cocoa substrate sizes and brands. Cocoa Blocks, Reptichip, Baby Chip, Microchip. What do you like or dislike? Thanks." I like the smaller chips for babies, if you can. I don't. I usually have my babies on paper. But if you've got small snakes, whether they're babies or not, if it's a small snake, put them on a smaller chip, because if they ingest it, then they can pass it easier. And as far as brands, some brands are better than other. I don't like the dust, and I don't like the real fibrous ones. Reptichip seems to be a good brand. I don't always get that. I usually just get whatever's available at the time. But you know, if you have a choice, Reptichip I think is probably the best, but it's not that big of a deal. You know, they're all fine. I think they all come from the same factory. I think there's probably one place that creates all the cocoa husks. They've got the big chopper thing, and they're just packaging it, because they all come in these blocks, right? They're all the same packaging with a different insert for a logo, right? But it's all the same. So I think they're all coming from the same factory, and the different companies that sell them can dictate the chip size, you know, and how they're chipped. And they can set whatever their chipper machine is. They can set that to whatever specifications that company wants. That's my guess. I might be wrong on that, but because they're all packaged the same, I think they're all coming from the same place. Thanks for this super chat. Savson Karan. Probably saying that wrong. Sorry. I think a horde live stream would be cool. Invite different horde members on to share about their animals. We just did this. It's not a live stream. It's literally a Zoom party where everyone is on sharing about their animals. We occasionally do Horde of Keepers Zoom parties, and we did one last weekend, or maybe it was the weekend before. I don't remember. Anyway, we recently did one. And we talk about whatever we want. Whoever wants to jump in and have their camera on, their mic on, they can chat, whatever, or you can just sit there and lurk. But it ends up being an animal show and tell, not just snakes, everything else. It's fun. We have a good time. Okay. Tyler says, not a question, just a comment. This is my last live stream I'll be able to attend before being shipped off to basic training for the Air Force. I've been having my dad watch your videos as he agreed to watch my snakes for me. I have a boa and a Mexican black king snake. He enjoys your videos and does a really good job remembering important information. Thanks for your work. You've been an awesome resource for my dad to refer to. He's going to do great. I'll be back in March of next year. Oh, that's great, Tyler. Best of luck in basic training. That's awesome. I'm glad your dad is taking care of your snakes. That's cool. Mason says, hi, Bob. I don't exactly know how to word it, but could you touch a bit more specifically on how to set up custom enclosures? Not what to do exactly, but in what order you want to go about it to reach the climate you want. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can give you a basic thing. It's when I set up an enclosure, I put all the substrate in and all the furniture in, and then I get my heat going, and I usually start it. I put the probe in and everything. I usually start my heat at like 85 or 86 degrees. That's what I set it to, and then I see from there what that makes the temperature inside the enclosure. So I do that with the temp gun, and it takes a few hours for it to actually settle. So sometimes you'll check right away. You'll check and it says that it's 96 degrees. So you're like, oh, I got to turn it down like 12 degrees, and you don't have to. You just wait. And so about every hour for the next few hours, you check it and see where it's at and make little adjustments from there. And then humidity takes a little bit longer to figure out. That might take several days, up to a week or so to figure out. But your snake's going to be fine during that time. The heat is the biggest thing, and it's most important that you don't have it too hot in there before you put your snake in. So you need to have a pretty good sense of what your heat is. Dave texted me and said, "That was fun. Thanks for having me on." I said, thanks for doing it. Okay. I don't know if he's still watching or if he's taking Nori to bed. He's probably taking Nori to bed. I can't even pronounce this. Young Energy. Thanks for the super chat. How do you feel about my dog meeting my ball python? I don't encourage that behavior. Sometimes it's fine, but dogs and cats often kill snakes. So I just, without knowing the animals, I always say there's no reason for it. Like no reason for your mammals to meet your reptiles. It's just safer that way. There are always exceptions. There are certain dogs that do just fine with snakes, but there's no reason for it. Your snake isn't craving a friend, and your dog doesn't need a snake friend because they have you. That's what I say about that. Yoda, thanks for the super chat. I'm back and I can watch the rest of the stream. Here, have more money. I got a question on Koa. Does he drink out of his water bowl? My bread light girl only seems to drink from herself when I missed her. That's interesting. Yeah, he probably does. I don't know if I remember seeing it much. But they're cryptic about their drinking habits. Sometimes it's only in the middle of the night, but that's a good thing to do. If you notice that your snake drinks off their body when you missed them, it's good to miss them. I do it with Douglas all the time because anytime I missed him, he takes the opportunity to take a drink, so it keeps him hydrated. He also drinks out of his water bowl, but I don't have any snakes that I would say they don't drink out of their water bowl at all. I think they always do. If they need a drink, they know where to find water, but also, when it rains in the wild, for a lot of these snakes, when it rains, they take the opportunity to take a drink because they don't know where their next water is coming from. So even if they have a cage and they've got a water bowl they know they can go to, I think instinctively they might just turn around and drink off their body, which is a good thing to do. So, yeah, any snake that you notice doing that, that's a good sign that you should sort of regularly miss them, even if it's like once a week. Just if you're spraying down their cage, spray them also. I only have a couple Patreon questions left, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel says, do you have any stories you haven't shared about ball pythons being smarter than people think? Usually when something comes up, I do share, I'll put a short up or something like that when a snake does something that seems really smart. I've posted on the channel. But one thing that comes to mind is not my snake, but Amy Bentley's snake, who we've mentioned Amy a couple times. She obviously is not here. Otherwise, I'd pop her on screen. But she has a snake that came from me that is I think it's from the inspector and Lucille's clutch, if I remember right. But that snake figured out how to get out of a sliding glass cage. And once he figured out how that lock worked, or the trick to doing it, he did it immediately again and again until Amy had to rework the cage to so that he wouldn't do that again. So that's pretty smart. Like, they figure out something, they remember it, and that's that. I just remembered that Handsome Dan is out. I just want to make sure that he's in the same spot that he's in. Take my ears out also. Give me just a moment. Wait, do I have a... You know what's going to help me in this adventure is a flashlight. These flashlights, you guys, if you have a reptile room, this flashlight on Amazon, it's called a mini light. They come in a set of 2. So good. Such a good light. Handsome Dan is still under the desk. So when the live stream is over, I'll use a hook to pull him out of there, and I'll probably have to fight with him because he'll grab the legs of the desk and everything else that he possibly can. But I'm not going to do that now. Okay. Kathy says, okay, so Kathy sent me a picture of cork bark that she has that had developed blue and white splotches. And she's asking if it's safe to keep using. Those blue and white splotches on that is mycelium. And mycelium is what mushrooms grow from. It's basically the mushroom is the fruit of mycelium, essentially. And so yes, totally safe, normal for a bioactive enclosure to have mushrooms. However, if you don't want mushrooms and it's just on cork bark, you can, Kathy lives in Arizona, so you can put that in a black plastic bag and set that outside in the Arizona sun for a day, 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that. It'll kill anything on there. Cork bark usually doesn't have problematic things growing on it. And mushrooms, mycelium is certainly not problematic at all. It's just normal for a bioactive cage. So that is totally okay. But some people don't like mushrooms growing in their bioactive. I would say, though, that it's a sign of a healthy bioactive environment if you have mushrooms growing. So no problem with mycelium. However, I have had situations where there's so much mushrooms growing in all the cages that I start pulling them out and start, like, I'll see the mycelium in the substrate and I'll dig it out because I just have too much mushroom situation, more than I want anyway. But if I see a few mushrooms pop up, no big deal. Last question from Patreon from Willie. Hi, Bob. I was wondering if you had any tips for dealing with gnats in bioactive setups. Also, if you had to move a bioactive setup to a new house, how would you recommend doing it? So I'll answer that one first. If I was moving a bioactive setup, I would do exactly what I did when I changed these cages out. You're going to see that in Monday's video. I took all the bioactive substrate that has springtails and isopods in it, as well as the plants. I put them all in a plastic bag, and I would travel with that. And then you've got an empty cage that you would travel with. Put it all back in, replant it, add substrate if you need to add substrate. That's how you do it. Just have your have all your bioactive material just in a plastic bag tied up, or in a bin or something like that. Whatever's easy for you. Unless you can get some real strong kids to carry a full bioactive setup and just leave it in there. That'd be the easiest thing if you can get someone else to do it. You know, if you do it yourself, it's the hardest thing, right?
And then let me show you. Hold on, I'll show you what to do. We've talked about this in live streams before, how to deal with gnats. Let me get this little thing. Okay, you can order this on Amazon. There are a number of brands, but they're all the same thing. They all come from the same factory. This one is called Catchy, and it's got a light right here, and it's got a fan, and the fan sucks the air into it. This is going to show you, this is kind of gross, but it's going to show you at the bottom, you've got a replaceable sticky thing. You see all the gnats on this? All this brown is gnats. So they are attracted to the light. They get sucked into here and they stick on the sticky thing. So all you have to do is put it in there for a little bit, especially in the evening. I've done it like, I remember one time I had a really bad gnat infestation in the inspector's cage, and he happened to be breeding with somebody at that time. So what I did is when I paired him with the female, his cage was empty. So I put one of these catchies in his cage and let it run for 24 hours, and it took care of the whole thing. So anytime I have an infestation, I just get one of these running. I actually have two of them. I get them running and it works great. So, and again, if you put in Catchy on Amazon, it'll come up with that, but whatever, but it doesn't matter what it says on that the brand is, it's the same thing. You know, some device that attracts the gnats with light, sucks them into a sticky tape thing. They should all work the same. Okay. We did it. Where are we at? We're 3.5 hours in on this, and we're not feeding snakes tonight. You know, oftentimes what we do is we get through these live stream questions and then we start feeding snakes, and that takes a while. But for not feeding snakes tonight, a 3.5 hour live stream is pretty good. Let me see if there's any thing that I can respond to here real quick. Jenna says she's running the Catchy thing all the time as preventative. That's a smart thing to do. You just get rid of the few of them that are there. Yeah, that seems to be the best way to do it. That way you're not using any pesticide or insecticide thing, you know? Okay. I mean, I think this was a good live stream, you guys. We got to showcase these cages early. Those of you who watched the live stream got to see the new cages. You'll see an in-depth cage situation in Monday's video, an in-depth bioactive situation in the following Monday's video with bioactive supply. You've got your discount codes for both Apex cages is GRP and bioactive supply is Green Room 20 for bioactive material. Those are the new channel sponsors coming out in the next week, and then 2 weeks is bioactive supply, but those discount codes still work right now. And we did it, I think. Let me make sure we don't have any other super chats that I missed. We got it all. All right, you guys. Thanks for reminding me, Jackson. I will be retrieving Handsome Dan as soon as I get off this live stream. That's what I was looking for, is the reminder of Handsome Dan. I appreciate it. All right, you guys have a great night. I will see you for next week's video, but in the next live stream, which will be like a month from now. All right. Bye, everybody.